We'll see what happens. See if it actually gets worked out here. Sounds like a computer issue. But I'm not positive. But good day to everybody. Got exciting news today with the Badger Hockey basketball program getting underway and taking on Bemidji State today. That's going to be a noon time. There you go. What'd you do, Ebo?
I just that was my fault, Bill. That's operator error. Wrong fader.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Happens every now and then. I'm sitting back here frantically trying to push all the right buttons while you're figuring it out.
That's my bad unit.
Here's the thing: is I ended up today. I had to do some work in the studio, so I changed some cords around to be able to do some audio stuff. And I'm thinking, holy crap, did I not put something back right? I mean, it was like 2 plugs. That was it. I'm like, I switched them both back. I don't know what's going on. And the one day that I do it is the one day that we have echo, so I'm freaking out completely. So.
Well, I came in and I was like, something like when Rush started playing, which turned it on and ripped the knob off, I'm like, something sounds a little off.
Yeah, that's okay. You know what? It's one of those things where it's kind of like, I understand it, no big deal, but thank God it wasn't me. Hey, when is your golf date?
Huckleberry today, Bill.
When is your golf date, by the way? When are you guys doing the thing out in Madison?
That is tomorrow from noon to 4 at the Madison Indoor Golf Center.
So I woke up this morning, and I've got some people now in Milwaukee that are listening on the stream, and they're following us on the Wisconsin Sports Zone app. And so anyway, long story short, I had 2 people that emailed me and said, hey, how do I get in on that? I'm listening every morning. They're listening in Madison now to Sports Talk Radio, and they wanted to join you, but they wanted to know the date. I didn't know the date off the top of my head. So I'm glad we got that out of the way, because you might have a couple of people trek over from Milwaukee and they'll make the schlep, and they may join you guys.
Yeah, MadCitySportsman.com for all the details. Just click on the Madison Indoor Golf Simulator. There you go. The experience.
That's good. Now, have you played on this Madison Indoor Simulator before?
I have not. It actually opened up like a month before, Rona hit.
Right.
So and then it shut down, obviously. So it's like brand new. So we're going to break it in.
They are becoming all the rage. Them and axe throwing. Those are the 2 places to go.
I have yet to do one of those.
Have you done an axe throw?
I have not, but there's one right down the road here from the station. Have you done it? I have not.
I have tried to get into the one in Milwaukee, Axe Milwaukee, like 3 or 4 times, and they're always booked up. I can't ever get in. And it's frustrating as hell. Because I'd like to go take out some frustrations by chopping up some wood and throwing some axes and stuff. But yeah, and what really astounds me, it's kind of like a gun club where they, have R. It's always astounding to me when they mix alcohol and axes or alcohol and guns. So I'm all in. Hey, if there's a risk of me dropping something and cutting off a toe, I'm in.
Bill, I always say, if you ain't living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. Give me some axes and some beer.
That's exactly. Who was it? Was it Tim McGraw that sang a song that said, "Live like you're dying"?
I'm not a country guy, but that sounds about right.
I'm not a huge country guy. I did country radio for a short stint.
Yes, I did. Did you ever do polka?
I never did polka, but the country radio gig turned into a sex talk radio gig, and then that converted into sports in some way, shape, or form. But yeah.
Radio careers are always hilarious. How they start and where they continue to grow.
Yeah, I know. You always think about the first couple of jobs. That's why when you get interns and they come in and you get interns like to do what you're doing or to what I'm doing, and they come in and they're like, this is it. This is what I want to do. And I said, no. I started off in a station where, and as God is my witness, the footprint of the property was so small. They had the building, the studio, and the tower on the same piece of land. But one leg of the tower came through the roof of the studio. And actually, I swear to God, you had to walk around it to get to the rest of the equipment behind the old board. And it was a daytimer. So you just turned it on when you got there in the morning, and at 4 a.m., you turned it on and you did that big flip of the switch, that really big old, I don't know how many watt button it was, but this big ass button. And you turn it on and you would literally hear, and then your hair on your arms would go up. How I don't have a second head growing out of my neck, I have no idea. But yeah,
that's funny, man. Yeah, the interns are always like, oh, they want everything right away. It's like, I started working midnight to 6 in the morning, Monday through Sunday. Now go get me some coffee, intern.
Right. That's exactly right. It's like when my old producer, Radio Joe, his first gig, he interned for me and then was the producer. So it was kind of like, one of my old bosses, Tom Parker, God love him, said to Joe, he said, dude, you don't realize you didn't have to start out driving a Chevette. You didn't have to start out driving the AMC Pacer with the Jim Bubble top. You got the keys to a Mercedes right away, and all we said was, don't wreck it. You know, that some of these guys don't realize that. So absolutely.
They don't, Bill.
I know you're geeked because today is not only a Chug Friday, but today at noon, we're going to hit the televisions hard as the Wisconsin men's Badger hockey team. They're going to be taking on Bemidji State today. You geek for that? Are you having a viewing party in the studio?
Well, yeah, come one, come all. Obviously, socially distanced here in the studio. Bill, I had the Badgers associate head coach, Mark Strobel, on Wednesday. And if you think we're fired up, he is beyond fired up. He was getting us pumped up on Wednesday for his team. I can't wait.
Do you have that full interview?
Yeah, I do.
Then why don't we play that coming up here at the bottom of the hour?
I can get it ready for you.
Let's do that. We'll do it. We don't do enough Badger hockey. Let's do a little Badger hockey at the bottom of the hour. I think we should do that. So we got that coming up at the bottom of the hour. We'll do a little bit of that.
I'll go cut that up.
Did you see? And for those that are out there, what was printed in the Journal Sentinel today? In the Journal Sentinel, when you and I were see, sometimes this show gets listened to but doesn't get credit. So as yesterday, I told you I was kind of flipping through the dials and I'm driving around and I'm listening. And I told you, man, people are off the rails regarding the Green Bay Packers. And some people said, we're not talking about that. We're doing that. I'm saying, I get it, but it's there. It's people are talking about it, So sure enough, big article, today's Journal Sentinel. Talkers, ESPN talkers, take a swipe at the Packers for failing to reconstruct Aaron Rodgers' contract. That's the headline. And then they quote everybody. They go with Tom Colassaw, the Dallas Morning News. There's no explanation for that. Similar with the case that they had Rodgers waiting and ready to go. Brett Favre clearly had something left, and it took Minnesota to an NFC title game. And now they're doing weird things. They're not adding to the team like they could if they move that money around. They're drafting quarterbacks. It's like they're waiting for him to be older than he is. Talk about taking a shot and basically just looking at the Packers organization and saying, what are you dumbasses doing? So then, Mina Kimes, ESPN contributor. I view it as strange, given he's coming off of an MVP season. You see teams in the NFC like the Rams or the Bucs, they're going all in this season, restructuring contracts, pushing money down the road to win and win now. Meanwhile, Green Bay has a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, but isn't really doing much to improve their roster around him. They could do it if they restructured his contract. I'd be frustrated if I was Rodgers. There's no way to read that other than Green Bay wants to keep their options open down the road. Then you got Sarah Spain, ESPN contributor. Even the captain of the boat, stuck in the Suez, thinks the Packers are being steered the wrong way. Wow. It doesn't make any sense. You've got a team that can compete and win now, an aging quarterback who is probably about 3 years younger than he really is because of the time that he sat early in his career. He was just an MVP, but instead you're already trying to figure out how you cannot be tied to him too long. It makes sense why Aaron Rodgers would want them to have a cap hits later on, because then it's not that easy for them to just dispatch him and move on. None of this makes sense. The Packers are a laughingstock for what they're doing in that front office. What the hell's going on up there? Now, I give Russ Ball a lot of creativity and a lot of compliments when it comes to the way they re-signed Kevin King's deal. Basically, it's a one-year deal, voidable, push 5 years down the road. Here you go. We'll move them out of money around. It's creative. That's an A-plus effort right there. An A-plus effort right there. But when it comes to the restructure of Aaron Rodgers' contract and what they're doing and why they're not adding, they have their heads up their asses, and that's what the problem is with the Green Bay Packers. They can't figure out what they want to do because they're tied to Jordan Love, an unproven boat anchor who is doing nothing right now but taking the last few years of this team down the toilet with him. And it's all going to be Brian Gutekunst's fault no matter what he does. No matter what he does, if he does nothing at all right now from here on out, he is going to be the guy that drafted a quarterback too early and did just enough to make the team win, but not win at all when everybody else around him is pushing that can down the street, trying to win and win now because they know the value of a championship. And Brian Gutekunst and the rest of the dummies up there don't get it. And that's the problem. And now you're a laughingstock, and everybody's taking notice but you. The target is on you for being this dumb, this stupid. It just is. Just is. And I thought I was the only one out there in the wilderness screaming into the woods because of out of frustration. I just wanted to get it all out of my lungs. But everybody's talking about this. They're all saying there's no explanation for this unless something behind the scenes is so unbelievably detrimental to the internal workings of the Green Bay Packers, unless Aaron Rodgers is the biggest ass anybody in the history of football has ever met, which I find hard to believe. There is no reason to be shoving him out the door. Get creative, win now while you have the guy in your stable. That's what you need to do. You can blame whatever you want on Aaron Rodgers for this past NFC Championship game, but you turn around and you do it again, and you do it better. You don't regress. You don't stand pat. The old adage in the NFL is if you're staying the same, you're getting worse, and that's all they're doing. That's all they're doing. And if it doesn't make you mad as a Packers fan, I don't know what will. Because you can get creative 3 and 4 years down the road, and you can have a cap hit, and you can go into salary cap jail. But raise your hand if you're out there as a Packers fan who wouldn't trade a little bit of salary cap jail to win maybe 1 or 2 Super Bowls in the next 3 or 4 years. I'm raising my hand real high right now. Raising it. I want to see a couple more championships in Green Bay before you turn the keys over, the Mercedes-Benz that you have that you're quickly turning into a rusted-out piece of crap sitting on your lawn with going out of your gas tank right now to turn it over to Jordan Love, who's then going to just take it, drive it down the street at 45 miles an hour, not do anything with it, not going to be that damn good. And then you're going to be wondering, why do we get rid of Aaron Rodgers? Because. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
When you say laughing stock, no. What people are saying, what former players are saying, what general managers are saying, what former general managers are saying, they can't figure it out. There's no method to the madness. When you let that roster bonus go, that was an indicator that you don't want to deal with this. You're not going to create additional space. You're not going to push the chips to the middle of the table. You're not going to do what's necessary, what other teams around you are doing to try to win now. There is no tomorrow in the NFL. There just isn't. And people, look, I'm not the only one saying this. When it comes to whether or not you know what it is they're doing. The Packers right now, it's a clean look. Your actions speak louder than words, right? What are their actions? We're going to go ahead and pay you. We're not going to restructure. We're not going to get additional salary cap space. We're not going to go after any additional free agents right now. We're going to go to the bargain bin. We're going to try to do what we always do and stay viable. But you got teams like the Buccaneers bringing everybody back, spending the money, getting creative, bringing everybody. They just won a championship. Now you've got L.A. L.A.'s out there. They're saying, look, money be damned. We're going to restructure. We're going to do everything we can. We got to upgrade a quarterback. We're going to do it. We're going to take the biggest chance we can possibly take. We're going to go with Matthew Stafford over Jared Goff. We got to mix it up. We got to go now. We know we have the defense. We know we need a quarterback. We know we've got some offensive weapons. We're going to bring in additional guys. We got to go for it now. You only get that grouping of players for so long before they begin to rot. And then you got to break it up. 25% of your team gets turned over usually per year. Think about that. 25% of your team usually gets turned over per year. So you can't have the same group time and time again. You can't just wait for everybody to age at the same time and then all peak at the right time. That's a crapshoot. So you have to hedge your bets by doing it. And by doing it is restructuring contracts. But when you've got it's like being a jockey and you've got a thoroughbred horse who can run. And you don't skimp at that point on the hay. You don't skimp at that point on the stable. You don't skimp at that point on the jockey. You don't skimp at that point on the training. If you've got that horse and you know it's that horse, you do everything you can to put the right things around that horse to go win the Triple Crown. That's what your goal is. But if you have a thoroughbred and you put a crappy jockey on him and you put him in a crappy stable and you feed him crap, you don't take care of him right, and you still say, hey, horse, go out and run as fast as and far and just beat everybody's. It's tough to do. So you hedge your bets. You accentuate. You put things around them. And to say that they're not doing anything, no, they signed some of their own free agents. We cheer for that. Yeah, you kept some good people. That's great. But you know there's holes. We know there's holes. We've seen it. We've talked about it. And you're the exact person that will call this program during the postgame show after they get beat because they couldn't get off the field, even though the defense might have played well for 3 quarters, 1 quarter, 3 straight drives. They couldn't get off the field. They give up, 17 points, and they get beat by 4. And you're the exact person that will call this show and go, I can't believe they didn't go out and get a better defense. We all know they need a linebacker. They know they need a defensive lineman. We know they needed another veteran corner. I can't believe you signed Kevin King when he's so banged up. You need additional depth. We all know it. Okay? I feel like the guy in the Geico commercial. We all see it. We all see it. We all see it. We all see it. What if we all see it, why don't they? 877-867-1670. He says, go back and look at when the Pats drafted Jimmy G. They made a ton of moves to groom him to take over for Brady. Then what happened? It was under fire, Brady's ass, and they traded Jimmy. Yeah, they traded Jimmy. Right. But they also restructured a lot of deals, and they also picked up free agents, and the quarterback wasn't making all the money, and they used a lot of that money to go out pick up additional people. Bring up Jimmy Garoppolo as the same comparison. You can't even do that. They got rid of Jimmy G. And the whole time they were doing everything they can in that team, and the Bill Belichick in, they were bringing past their prime in another place, and they saw something in them. They filled holes. They filled a running back hole. They filled a linebacker hole. They filled a safety hole. All of that they did in free agency. That's my point. You just proved my point for me. And, oh, by the way, they got 6 rings. You proved my point. Thank you very much. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to chime in, feel free to go ahead and do it. I'm just saying, hey, the same thing people are saying, or we've talked about for the last few days in this program, is the same thing that people are now saying nationally. And for a while there, I kind of treaded a little bit lightly because I thought, am I the only one that's seeing something like this? I mean, even yesterday we had Eric Branchek on. He said, look, they did re-sign some guys. They brought back a lot of the guys that were contributors, but he said the exact same thing. Yeah, we know they need a corner. You can't rely on Kevin King. Not consistently, because he's going to get hurt at some point. You probably could go out and get a veteran. You're going to have to sign to a contract extension to Davante Adams, probably Jair Alexander. That's coming up. Elkin Jenkins, that's going to be happening here in the next couple of years, because you're going to want to keep that guy around. He's proven to be really solid. You need some offensive line. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can draft for, absolutely. But to hedge your bets like the Rams, and I said all along, look, the two teams I think that are going to beat the Packers are the Buccaneers and the Rams. The Rams got beat by the Packers, and the Rams went out and said, this is what we need to do to beat the Packers next time. We need better quarterback play. We need help on the offense, and we need to help bolster our defense. And, oh, by the way, we want some special teams. So that's what they did. They're not messing around. They're not messing around. Ryan says they were always complaining about good wide receivers in New England. Go back and look. I remember that. That's when they went out and got Randy Moss. And then after that, they cut Moss loose, and they were just as successful. You can argue the Patriots all you want. The Patriots are winning championships. They needed a running back. They brought in Corey Dillon. They needed linebackers. They went out and got them. They needed a safety. They went out and got them. They needed defensive line help. They went out and got them. Then they drafted. Whatever developed great, the rest of the wood, they cut off the tree. That's what they do. They needed another additional defensive back. They went out and got Terrell Rivas, signed him to a one-year deal. Big money. Here you go. I can go through the list of free agents that they picked up. So you're proving my point 100%. If they needed a wide receiver, great. They got solid guys. They got on the same page. Much like Aaron Rodgers talks about the same page with Davante Adams and emerging Robert Tonyan. Some of those guys, they don't light up the lines when it comes to big names in the game. But if they're comfortable with the quarterback and the quarterback likes him, you do that. What did Bruce Arians do this year? He went to Tom and said, what do you need? What do you need? You've been there, done that. You're a champion. What do you need? What do you think you need? He said, well, we need this, this, and this. Okay, go get them. The offense began to click. After a rough start, the offense began to click. What did they do? Signed Ndamukong Suh. They brought in good linebackers. They had a plethora of good defenders already. Then they went out and accentuated them. Said, here you go. We got to keep the band together. They did it again this year. Eight 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Mary Lou says, reminder, 1970 through 1990, 20 years. It was a different era. Enjoy the success. I agree. Many mistakes made, not perfect. More fun than 26 other teams. Mary Lou, I 100% agree with you. And if that's where people are happy with, then that's fine. If you're good with that and you're good every year being where you're at, that's fine. And you know what? You're 100% right. Extremely blessed. Extremely blessed that Ron Wolf had the foresight to see what Brett Favre had him. Let's be honest. And everybody wants to go, well, they had Brett Favre. They won a Super Bowl. No, they had Brett Favre and Reggie White. Reggie White took over that game when they won the Super Bowl. They needed a big series, and Reggie took it over. They won that game on Reggie and that energy and that leadership that he brought in. That is undeniable. You talk to anybody off of that team, they'll tell you that. I've done hundreds of interviews with those guys. Brett himself. And Brett will say, look, I was a wild child. I was this, I was that. I was all over the place. I was here and here and here. And yeah, we had a good offense and we had this and guys that would go make plays. And then they all would stop and say, but Reggie kept us together. Reggie was a free agent, wasn't he? Now, you can't go out and spend that kind of money for a Reggie White. And Reggie White's not walking through that door. But they brought in a veteran who knew what it took and was hungry because he wanted to win and put him over the top. Put him over the top. They don't win a Super Bowl without Reggie White. You have the Brett Favre of your era right now, and that's in Aaron Rodgers. What you need is another guy to put him over the top. They don't win that Super Bowl without Charles Woodson. You need that guy to put you over the top. Who's that guy? Is it Arias? He's solid. You need another guy. You need another guy. It's obvious, and you need it, and I don't know what else to say. The A-Bomb says, screw the we're going to field a competitive team every year crap. Everybody knows 12 gives you everything that is on his own. Demand a championship or a new president. We don't give a crap about their theme parks. Kevin says, the book is there. Ron Wolf and Bob Harlan wrote it. Time to use it well. I would agree. Okay. That's it. The ranting's, I'm going to slow. There you have it. Let's do this because today is a special day with the Badgers. They're going to be taking on Bemidji State today, and it's a big one coming up today at noon. So our guy Ebo, Badger hockey enthusiast, sat down and did an interview. We're going to hear that when we come back. Stay tuned. We got a lot more. The Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back and glad to have you. We can argue. This is a Friday, and I've always said the show should be like adults in a bar arguing sports. This is great today. The juices are flowing, but we're in the bar. We're hanging out. We're all getting ready for what? We're getting ready for the game. What game? We're getting ready for the game that's coming up a little bit later on today. You got the NCAA tournament, East Regional, the Wisconsin Badgers and Bemidji State today. Good stuff. Our guy Ebo back in the studio. So you talked to the assistant head coach, correct?
Yeah, associate head coach Mark Strobel, and then also Barry Richter, too, who won it with the Badgers in 1990. He is the son of Pat Richter. So those two awesome hockey guys.
So you sat down, chatted with these guys, and I want to make sure that we got everybody's name correct, and I got it all straight because I'm not the most astute person when it comes to Badger hockey. So you set it up and let it go and let it fly.
All right, so obviously the Badgers taking on Bemidji State today at noon. First time in 7 years that Wisconsin hockey's been in the NCAA tournament. So Mark Strobel, the associate head coach, did play for the Badgers, in college, and so did Barry Richter, who is Wisconsin hockey royalty. We talked Bemidji State also in 1992 when they got to the championship game and then had to vacate it, their runner-up, because they got screwed by the referees. Their words, also mine. And we talked Bemidji State again. So here you go.
Very stoked for Friday, obviously, as the Badgers going to get underway against Bemidji State. But before we dive in, Barry, let's start with you. Barry, usually you will conference in Strobes, but Strobes is also right now. Barry, what is it that you're doing this week leading up to Friday's action? Was it at noon?
Just trying to get some work done, man. You got to get some work done so I can go and watch that game at noon. I'm really excited to watch the team play. I don't know much about Bemidji State, but as everyone knows, they're out of Bridgeport, and sounds like the team had to go out there a couple days early, several days, a lot earlier than they usually do for the NCAA. So it's an interesting setup, so to speak. But nevertheless, the Badgers got the 1 seed in that region, which is great, and just looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting some hockey because my bracket is definitely busted.
Oh god, mine's busted up so fierce. So Barry, do you have to ask someone to leave work early on Friday, or can you just be like, yo, hey, I'm leaving. See you guys later. What's the proper protocols for you, Barry?
We'll probably put the TVs on during the day and bring the laptop out and just and watch the game in the middle of the day.
Don't you got Bill Nagy working with you?
Yep, Bill Nagy.
Tell cover yours. He's okay. But let Bill do it.
Have it. He's a rookie. We'll let him do that.
And then we welcome in Strobel as well. Strobes, you're out. Are you in Bridgeport right now?
We are. We actually flew in yesterday. Dropped our stuff off at the rink, and immediately went back to the rink to test for COVID. So again, they got a different process here than they do in Madison, but everyone kind of following the protocol, and then we had a little dinner, kind of a grab and go type thing, and then everyone hit their rooms or whatever they want to do, go for a walk. But we got out here early, so the NCAA, I believe, could test us, and this regional can be a bit quarantined. I don't believe they're having spectators and fans at this regional, but parents are allowed to come. And don't quote me on this, but I think they do have to show some type of maybe test that they've had done. I'm not for sure on that.
Gotcha.
There's just a lot of speculation. So in the end,
Yeah.
in the end, it's about these kids focusing on a hockey game, and that's what we got to do, fans or no fans. We've done it all year, and I think we'll be ready for sure.
Strobes, what's it been like, leading up to before you guys flew out? Were you guys having practices? Like, what were you just kind of like laying low? Like, what was the vibe like of the team? What were you guys doing?
No, really good, really upbeat. First time 7 years we're back in the dance and have a chance to win a national championship like our ladies team, and again, hats off to our women's team, man. Again, they've just done a great job, so we want to follow suit there. But we've had some good practices at LeBon. It's been very upbeat. We've tested at home. Everyone seems to be good there, and so for us, it's dialing in. We've watched video on Bemidji. I've got the Michigan Tech as well as the Bemidji video, Lake Superior State video about them, and they remind me a lot of Penn State. They can trap you a little bit in the neutral zone. They're going to try to clog things up. But I think, again, our speed, our tenacity, and playing Badger hockey when we've been successful this way has to be the ingredient for us to have success.
So, Strobes, have you ever been to Webster Bank Arena before in Bridgeport? I'm looking at the pictures right now at the Badgermen hockey on Twitter here. Looks pretty palatial. I see you guys throwing the football around, having a good time. Have you ever been out there before?
I have not been to this rink. I did years back in 95, 97, played in the American League out here on the East Coast out of Albany. So I've been around this area years ago, but never to Bridgeport and the rink. Sacred Heart University is the host team. Looks like a nice rink. It's an NHL size, 200 by 85 that the American League team for the New York Islanders play in. And ice is ice, man. They got to play on it. We got to play on it. And I think our guys are ready to go to war and prove that Badgers are back to national prominence and in college hockey.
I like that, baby. Ice is ice. You got to go get them. Barry, when it comes to, turning your attention to tournament time, what's it like, in your playing days? You guys obviously with the incredible run, hoisting it. What's it like as you turn your attention to the do or die, win or go home mentality?
Well, as everyone knows, it's a little different this year with COVID protocol and scheduling and everything. And so when we played, and usually when you play, you're going from weekend to weekend, and you're playing games, and you have a little bit, and not until you get to the Frozen Four do you have maybe a 2-week layoff. So I'm curious to ask Strobes, how they have prepared the last 2 weeks, because hockey is a game of it's something you just can't just go away for 3 or 4 days and rest and then pick up the skates and start skating again. It's a momentum game. It's how you feel putting the skates on and snapping the puck around. And also you have to, it's different when you're competing against your own team in practice compared to, getting hit in a live real game. So, vastly different. The team's going to have to adapt. So I'm really curious to hear what Coach Strobel has to say on that.
Strobel, real quick. Barry is a freaking pro. Softball. Barry is a pro at this, dude. Barry, we have another mic in here if you just want to come in and take the reins, brother. We have another mic in here for you. But Strobes, the stage is yours. Barry with the hard-hitting question.
Well, no, it's a great question. When we got back from that playoff weekend there in the Big Ten and had the Minnesota loss, we got right back to work. I think Tony, myself, Oz, we were very focused on what we lacked in that game, especially in the second period, and what we needed to correct, certainly as coaches, and then to make sure instruction was pretty much dead on. And I think we got right back to, men are men. We did a lot of battle drills. We did a lot of D-zone coverage stuff that we talked about to make sure assignments, were correct. And we weren't getting crossed up on trying to play man-on-man when we're actually a zone-type defense in our own end. And, for us, it was just competing again and winning one-on-one pucks, doing stuff off the walls, being good on over-unders on the boards. And just a lot of the little team stuff, too, in our neutral zone, our forechecking, our regrouping quickly and attacking, and then worked on the forecheck. So pretty much everything. We got some special teams in a couple days ago as well. So worked on our power play and penalty kill, and we touched on everything. And then the goaltenders got a ton of shots. We also did some 4D splits. So, again, it was very, very focused. It was very detailed, and we worked hard. And like I said, it's what we're going to do that's going to determine our future here in the next 4 games. But for us, we got to win the first period and have a good first shift against Bemidji and set the tone.
Well, is that how you break it down, Strobes? You said period by period, right? Or is it shift by shift? Is that how you break it down with the guys? It's like go out there, just focus on your role, your job, what you do just shift by shift to don't get caught up in the bigger picture?
You do. I think for me as a coach too, when I'm talking with the forwards, I just tell them right away, go get your legs underneath you. Go feel the puck. Go get into a body. Get that first shift under your belt. Touch the biscuit a little bit if you can. Otherwise, get into somebody, get into a good position, get a good stick in a lane. And then once that's under your belt, I try to coach them through a little bit of, okay, that one's over. Everyone's blood is flowing. Now we're in it. And then start taking over with our systems and our support of the puck, and then just making plays and letting the game flow, and then clear your mind to just sit and go, hey, this will be repetitive what we do in practice, how we play, and what's given us success all year. So I do try to explain the one shift under your belt, get those legs going, get your feet going, get your body into it. Yeah. And again, as Barry knows too, as a player, it can start with your warm up. You got to have a good warm up. Your mind's got to be clear in the moment, and then again, it's you and your teammates supporting each other to have that team success.
Well, I watched the reveal show, and as the region for you guys as the number one seed came out, and you see Bemidji there, and last played him in 06 and went on to the national championship. You had UMass as the number 2, and then that Lake Superior State came up, and all I could think about was 92. And, I wasn't old enough to really comprehend a lot of things at that time, but all I know is nobody I know who's a Wisconsin Badger hockey fan has any good things to say about 1992 or Lake Superior State. And without me knowing, hate just brewed for me. So you guys having partaken in that, what was it like seeing Lake Superior State in that region and a possibility of a matchup?
Well, I'll take that first.
Go ahead, Barry.
Barry sounds like he's ready to go. Barry's ready to throw the gloves off.
Yeah, RJ, this is a moment in time of Badger hockey where, the junior on the team, Strobes is a freshman, and
yes,
it was just an unfortunate incident where we felt, and we weren't like the best team in college hockey that year, but we just had something going. We had momentum, and that's what you're going to see in the next couple of weeks for college hockey. Who's got the momentum and who's got the good feel under their good feeling. So, and we had that, and we had a great goalie in Dwayne Dirksen, and all of a sudden we made won the semis against Michigan, and everyone loved Michigan, and nothing better than beating Michigan when we beat them in the semifinals ahead to the finals and playing Lake State, and we just felt really good going into it. And we were up 2-0, and from what I recall, for some reason we had the 4th best ref from the ECAC doing the championship game, and things just got out of control. And in terms of calling the game, and it was just over his head a little bit. And and frankly, we lost our cool at the end of the game too, and we shouldn't be doing that. But there's basically we had a national championship ripped from us a little bit. I'll state that.
I'm getting pissed off just thinking about it.
It cuts to the bone for me because we should have won that game, and our captain had a 10-minute misconduct for just questioning a call, not even swearing at him.
What?
It was just out of control, and so for me, it hits the heart a little bit because we should have had a national championship that
I'm getting
year,
pissed off right now, Barry. I'm getting fired up just thinking about it.
I'm just telling you reality.
Yeah, like I said,
reality.
I've only heard stories from my parents and other fans who are old enough to actually remember that game. And it's just, that's the first words out of people's mouths. The Badgers got hosed during that game, and it was determined that they were not going to win a national championship.
Well, the words I want to say, the FCC won't let me be. So there's that. It's Strobes.
There you go. That was the interview from a little bit, from what? Earlier this week, Ebo? Was that on Wednesday? Is when you had those guys on?
Yes, sir. Wednesday when Strobel touched down in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
There you go. And then they play today. Noon is when it gets underway. You can catch it on ESPN2 if you're a Badger hockey enthusiast. And no, I don't cover a ton of the hockey. I mean, I cover, I don't want to say cover, but I watch more of the NHL, and I pay a lot of attention to the AHL, but don't pay as much attention, should I say, to the college ranks. But boy, oh boy, I tell you what, right here in our own backyard, when you want to look over that fence and jump on the bandwagon, it's great that the Badger hockey program, the women win the national title, the Badger men's hockey program, hopefully coming out of the regionals, beating Bemidji State would be fantastic, especially for a chug day today. That would be good. Let's do this. We'll step away. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. Stay tuned right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. Brewers battled to a 2-2 tie last night. 2 runs, 6 hits, no errors. The Giants, 2 runs, 7 hits, 1 error. That was a late game out in Arizona. And last night, Brent Anderson, 5 2/3, 5 hits, a couple of runs. Both of them earned 3 strikeouts along. Did give up. Came in up pretty much zeros across the board. He had a couple of strikeouts. Ray Black came in, gave up 1 hit in an inning with a couple of strikeouts. He threw a clean inning. So did Hardy, which was nice to see last night. So some good stuff there. Anderson and Ray both had RBIs in this game. And they left 8 men on base in that contest. 8 men on base. Orlando Arcia, by the way, just kind of paying attention, looking over the fence. 2 guys that really kind of need to pick it up offensively. Travis Shaw batting 171 on the spring training season. Orlando Arcia 189 on the season. Avisail Garcia, though, looking really good, hitting 300, feeling strong. Even though he did go 0 for last night, he's been playing extremely well. And Christian Yelich, who was hitting the ball extremely well, too, last night, 0 for in the contest. Keston Hiura did hit did get one hit last night, I should say. And he was 1 for 3. He's batting .243 on the spring training season. Tyler Taylor, I'm telling you what, he's just lighting it up. Just been playing extremely well, hitting .324, impressing everybody. He's not going to make the team, but it's nice to know you've got him kind of waiting in the wings right now, ready to play right field should the depth on that outfield go down at all. But just playing extremely well right now. So that being said, I mean, not a bad day. They got the White Sox coming up later on today. And they're just kind of winding things down right now. The White Sox getting a 9-4 win yesterday over the Cincinnati Reds, but they're going to be back at American Family Fields of Phoenix today. That is a 3:10 Central Time start. 3:10 Central Time start. And then the Brewers, they got a few more games on the docket. And then after that, they got the White Sox, the Royals, the Reds, and then they go to Texas. They fly to Texas for a couple of them. And then they come home, and then they open it up, and we are less than a week away. So they play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Off on Wednesday to come back to Miller Park, a little bit of a light workout, and then they get going for real on Thursday of next week, 1:10, first pitch from American Family Field. So the Brewers fast approaching the opening of the season. I got to admit, I've been kind of paying attention as I watch more and more commercials, both on the MLB Network, the Four Letter Network, even Fox to a certain extent. A lot of the opening day stuff, Fandemonium stuff, it's still not going to feel the same because it's not a packed house. It's not tailgating in the parking lots. It's not doing the live broadcast from Hellfair Field. It's none of that, but it's still exciting nonetheless for just getting back to that, what we believe to be efforting towards the sense of normalcy. So I'm excited for baseball season. I think the Brewers are going to be a good team. I think they're just looking for a couple of guys to catch fire. Boy, if you can get one of the two, Orlando Arcia or Travis Shaw, just to give you 230 or better. And really, it's not that they're going to, really complement the offense, but don't be the sinkhole in the offense. You know what I mean? And then the rest of it, Colton Wong and Keston Hiura and what they're going to do over at first base with, some rest time, so to speak. And obviously behind the plate and in the outfield, I think is as strong as any in baseball. So I can't wait. I'm looking forward to the baseball season get underway. And the Brewers, by many, picked to finish second behind the Cardinals are still picked by many to finish first. And then depending on which betting source you look at, whether the Cubs or the Reds are going to be the successor in third. And then the Pirates certainly bringing up the rear, not projected to win more than 62 games, depending on what betting site you look at. But can't wait for baseball season to get here. Coming up in the next hour, we'll pick up where we left off. Got some emails I want to get to, some comments I want to get to regarding the Packers, and then yesterday's trade deadline. 44 as of right now. There could be another one or two contracts that we haven't really seen yet come through the NBA. 44 players switching teams yesterday, the most in decades. 44 players changing teams yesterday. The Bucks, they already made their move. PJ Tucker's their guy. Let me ask you this as we get ready to come back in the next hour. Are the Bucks the team to beat in the East? After all the dust is settled, are the Bucks now the team to beat in the East? And who are the legitimate competitors and contenders behind them? We'll talk about that when we come back as well. Stay tuned. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Wisconsin football has its new running backs coach. The Badgers have tabbed former Dallas Cowboys running backs coach Gary Brown as John Settle's replacement. Brown had been an NFL coach with Cleveland from 2009 to 2012 and Dallas from 2013 to 2019 before being sidelined last season with battling cancer for a second time. During his tenure with the Cowboys, he oversaw the development of Pro Bowl backs DeMarco Murray and Ezekiel Elliott. To college basketball, one of Wisconsin's 6 seniors will play another year of ball, but it won't be with the Badgers. Verbal NewsMits.com reported yesterday that guard Trevor Anderson has entered the transfer portal. To the majors, the Milwaukee Brewers have set their rotation. Brandon Woodruff will get the nod opening day next Thursday, followed by Corbin Burns, Adrian Hauser, Brett Anderson, and then Freddie Peralta, as Josh Lindblom will start the season in the bullpen. Here's more from Council on Peralta getting the nod.
He's pitching like a starting pitcher. The rhythm of the game, the pitches he used, the weapons he had for different hitters, different handedness hitters, just really a complete step up from a couple years ago when he had to rely on a fastball, essentially.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
When a company only does business in Wisconsin, that's Wisconsin Strong. Rural Mutual provides all lines of insurance, including commercial, farm, home, and auto. And your premiums stay right here to keep Wisconsin strong. Local agents, local underwriters, local claims adjusters.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
For the first time since 2014, Wisconsin men's hockey is back in the NCAA tournament, and today at noon, they'll take on Bemidji State in Bridgeport, Connecticut. If the Badgers do win, they'll get the winner between the number 2 seed Massachusetts and the number 3 seed Lake Superior State. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Back, and we have got a hiring. Hopefully you are sitting down if you're a Marquette fan. Shaka Smart has been hired as the new men's basketball coach at Marquette. Shaka Smart now coming to Marquette. Did not tear it up at Texas like everybody thought he would. I think he's going to be an upgrade over Wojo, but did not do what everybody thought he would do at Texas. Did not get a win in the NCAA tournament. So give us your thoughts if you're a Marquette fan or even a Badger fan for that matter. A Wisconsin native coming back to be Marquette's men's basketball coach. Shaka Smart coming back. Going to go there to Marquette. I was kind of hoping that Marquette would have pried away Porter Moser from Loyola. I was kind of hoping that they would be able to pry him away. I mean, if you really want to make basketball in Wisconsin viable and the rivalry between Wisconsin and Marquette and just kind of bring it all to a level, I was kind of hoping they would bring in Porter Moser, but didn't happen. But Shaka Smart getting the job. Who knows? Maybe it's just a change of scenery. Things begin to kind of crack for him. Being a Midwest type of guy, maybe he has more of a portal, if you will, for players in this area. But Marquette getting Shaka Smart to be their new men's basketball coach. Good news for Marquette. I mean, if you're a Marquette fan, you got to be kind of fired up, right? Shaka's lost 5 straight NCAA first-round games, but they were by a combined 13 points, and 3 of them went to overtime. Under Wojo, Marquette lost 2 NCAA games by a total of 39 points. So there you go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to chime in, by all means, feel free. We'd love to hear from you today. We were talking to Packers in the first hour. Our buddy Steve from Richfield. Good morning. Couldn't agree with you more on the lack of moves and strategy of Brian Gutekunst. When you referenced the signing of Reggie White, I can't help but to look back and think about other free agent signings that Ron Wolf added, just like Charles Woodson's signing of Ron Wolf, bringing in Sean Jones and Tanner Dotson to solidify the defensive front. He also added Viking cast-off Gilbert Brown. Don't forget the additions of Keith Jackson and Bad Moon Rising. We all know how that worked out. Agreed that Za'Darius and Preston Smith were good additions, but the Packers could have added a complimentary free agent wide receiver to the team like that needed Devontae Adams as well. Granted, Devin Funchess is coming back, but there were significant upgrades at wide receiver that could have been addressed, and they chose not to do so. I'm hoping and praying that the Packers draft is very heavy and directed towards the defense. Yes, adding a receiver early is a need, but defense and an O lineman or two is what I hope they're going to target. Have a great weekend. That's our buddy Steve in Richfield. Steve, you're the man. I still think they have got to get a free agent or two, just a veteran, another veteran or two that are going to stack the deck a little bit more defensively speaking. Just my thought. Just my thought. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Love to hear from you on this. This is from Max. Max says, the Packers have not stayed the same. They've lost their backup running back, Jamal Williams. They also lost their starting center. So while they're keeping a lot of guys on this team, there is still turnover, and it's not for the better. What do you think is going to happen if they lose another couple pieces over on the defense for depth, even though some of these guys may or may not matter? In addition to that, they have not added or upgraded many positions. They just stayed the same. So in essence, in the NFL, they're getting worse. That's from Max. Max, appreciate the email. Carl, listening to us, by the way, in Shawano, says, I think while the Packers are treading water, they're pushing their quarterback out the door. For what reason, we just don't understand. There has to be something more to this story. Maybe one day when Gutekunst writes his memoirs, he'll explain what the thought process is here. I just simply don't get it. Like many of you out there, I am scratching my head. Thanks for listening to us in Shawano as well. Really appreciate everybody listening to us on the network. All over the place. This one's from Brett, says, getting a little bit tired of the drama. Not happy what my team is doing right now. And I can, like I said, I can understand that a bit. And Dr. James says, Green Bay just does things a certain way. Nobody really understands it. Nobody understands why. With the franchise they have, they just don't put more chips into the middle of the table, as you keep saying, Unit. I, for one, believe in what they're doing. I just don't think they're doing enough to make their boat go faster in the water than everybody else's boat. They continue to rely upon the engine that is Aaron Rodgers. While they don't streamline anything, they don't add to the boat to make it better. We can use all the analogies we want, but the bottom line is this. They just want to win as many games as they can to keep us fans and sheep interested so we continue to buy the green and gold products. That's all this is about. It's about money. It's a money grab from Mark Murphy all the way down. Why did the board of directors not get on their asses and say you have to do more? Those are really our mouthpieces for ownership. Beyond that, I'm frustrated with a franchise that continually raises ticket prices, raises prices in the pro shop, but doesn't spend the additional money on the players that they need. You got to restructure. Well, you don't restructure, you extend. But he says you got to restructure Devontae Adams. They already restructured and re-signed David Bakhtiari, but that's like putting Band-Aids on things. You want to keep your cornerstones, yes, but if you're not going to do more with it, then why are you spending all the money just to keep some names around? Question mark. To sell jerseys? To hell with this. I'm not doing anything or spending any more money on the Green Bay Packers until they spend more money in free agency. It's just as simple as that. Appreciate the email. Good stuff. At this point, and Mark says, what do you think they're going to do when they have to sign the rookies? You're going to have some more cuts on June 1st. I don't think there's, that's any secret. There's probably a couple of players, biting their nails to figure out whether or not they're even going to be back with the Green Bay Packers. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. And I think at this point in time, we're just throwing our hands in the air. And just saying, okay, we'll just sit back and see. But again, this is where you and I are in this. I'm in doing what and I'm in the same boat with everybody on the outside looking in that are kind of going, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. This is where the indicators point. The indicators are pointing towards pushing Rodgers out the door. But for what purpose? If it's just for the money, yeah, maybe then part of that is on Rodgers. But you can understand where many say, not just myself, but many say, there should be some skepticism upon Rodgers' part because he lived with Ted Thompson in the last 4 or 5 years of Ted's regime and the first couple of years of Gutekunst where, you're doing something, and Gutekunst started out like a ball of fire. He was like, this is great. Okay. New head coach, bringing in some guys defensively. We're going to start to bolster that. We're going to give Mike Pettin what he needs. We'll do a few things to add some depth. We got some good guys. And then it fizzled. Which is why I say all the time, if you have the motto "In Goody we trust," that's great. Because you have to then trust that Jordan Love is the real deal. That's the only thing you can be thinking of, That's the only thing you can be thinking of. Patrick says, Shaka Smart, next head coach at Marquette, pumped. Let's hope that he comes in and takes because the cupboard's not bare at Marquette. Let's hope that he takes what's in the cupboard and accentuates it and then coaches them up. Because Wojo could recruit, he just couldn't get wins. I mean, that was very obvious. And I still to this day don't understand why they gave him that contract extension. But, hey. At the time, maybe they just thought he was bringing in some great talent, and they wanted to lock him up because they didn't want some of this talent that was signing with Marquette to go by the wayside. Gary says, why don't people understand there's no more money? Yes, there is, Gary. All these other teams are restructuring deals and making moves, and they're doing it with the Rams, they're doing it with the Bucks. Everybody, why are you the only one that thinks that you understand a salary cap? I mean, it's not just me; it's other players, it's former general managers. They all say there's ways to do things. You can always make room. Restructuring Aaron Rodgers, who is the largest cap hit in the NFL this coming season. There's so many ways to do this, to get additional talent on this team. And other teams around you are doing it because they want to win a championship because they know that everything's starting to come together. You only have so many years left. I mean, the Buccaneers are going all in because they don't know if next year's the last year with Brady or not. They're doing it. They're doing it out in L.A. The teams around you are seemingly getting better, and the teams that were better are staying the same or better, and you've lost your backup running back, and you've lost your starting and all-pro center. And you've retained some of the guys, which is great because it's still a pretty good offense. And you're going to need to add some pieces in the draft, but you're not really hedging your bets. This is from Ronald, who says, do you think that LaFleur might be pushing for his own quarterback to build off of? I don't know why you would do that. I just don't. Unless there is such a problematic disconnect with trying to appease. I can't imagine Aaron Rodgers is that big of a pain in the ass the way people are making him out to be. Maybe he is, and maybe I'm blind. Maybe I just think that having a Hall of Fame quarterback is where you start, and then you just keep adding to it and adding to it and adding to it until you're hoisting a trophy. That's what I believe, because they don't come around that often. And that's the whole thing, is they just don't come around that often. Why wouldn't you take advantage of it? If Rodgers was debilitated with an injury like Peyton Manning was with the neck, I get it. Okay? You won 6 rings with Brady. So, yeah, Brady had kind of grown tired of the Bill Belichick way and wanted to go out on his own and prove something. But that was at the end of his contract. And he wasn't making that much money. It wasn't like you wanted to force Brady out because of money. That wasn't it, because Brady wasn't making that much money. It wasn't like you needed to get rid of him. So Montana at the end, he was starting to break down. His back, his knee, he was starting to break down. And they came to a crossroads. They didn't want to pay him more money to keep him around because he was breaking down. Rodgers, remember, spent the first 3 years of his career sitting the bench and then had 2 seasons where he was spent basically out of the league because he was nursing an injury. He really only played between those 2 seasons 1 year. So that's in essence 4 seasons of his career in the NFL that he didn't play. He's not a beat up guy. So that's where the scratching your head a little bit comes into play. 877-867-1670. Saying hi to Jesse, listening to us in Madison. Also, Mark in La Crosse in the mighty WKTY. Says, great listening to you every day. Mark is a delivery driver. Delivery for the Amazon Prime vehicles out there. Says, you make my day run smooth. He ended up getting a better phone so he could tilt it sideways and watch it in the truck. Keep your eyes on the road. But I'm glad you're listening. Thanks so much. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michael will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Glad you are on board. Bill Michaels Show. It's on a good Friday. Enjoying the day today. We're about 40 minutes away from Badger hockey going up on ESPN2. If you're cruising around out there, maybe you want to go pay attention to the Badger men's hockey program as they also effort their way towards a championship. And looking forward to that. They're taking up Bemidji State today at noon in the regionals. Loving it. The women have already won a title, so hopefully they can make it both the men's and the women's programs, owning the title in Madtown. This one's from, who is this? This is our buddy D-Hag, Go Pack Go. It says, patience, patience, patience. The Packers are just waiting for the June-July cutoff to see who's going to be available. Released to rework Rodgers' contract at that point in time. How much do you need to rework is a big question until we know who they could get. Okay, that's where the faith comes in. I completely agree. You got to have faith, because if you don't have faith at this point, then it's maddening. But I don't. There's not a lot of reason as to why. You know? Gary, it does not kill the 2022 and 2023 cap. You can extend him and spread that money out. Okay, that's been talked about as well. It doesn't kill it. You can extend it. If you give him a contract extension, yes, it gives you a boost, but you can convert that money into signing bonus, not necessarily salary. Just an FYI. Patrick says, let's just restructure Rodgers and get Akeem Hicks on a 3-year deal and pair him with Kenny Clark. That would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. Chris says, Joe Montana still went to Kansas City and played well. Yes, he did. You are correct. But remember, they had Steve Young, and Steve Young was ready to leave. Much like when the whole Rodgers-Favre thing came up. Had Favre never wavered, I wonder if Ted would have chosen Aaron to begin with. And remember, it wasn't like again, this was not where Rodgers at the time was expected to be the number 1 pick. It was either him or Alex Smith, one of the two. Everybody knew it. And then for whatever reason, Rodgers began to fall. And there wasn't a rush on for quarterbacks the way there is like today. And there was a lot of good players in that draft. So when Rodgers was drafted, it was interesting because Rodgers, the Packers never expected him to come to them. Remember that? Because it was, the Dolphins at the time, they didn't think they needed a quarterback. Braylon Edwards, they needed a wide receiver in Cleveland. Remember Cedric Benson? They thought he was going to be the end-all, be-all down in Chicago. They needed a running back, so they chose him. Had they chosen Aaron Rodgers, imagine how the tables would have turned. Then there was Cadillac Williams, the running back that went to Tampa. Adam Pac-Man Jones, the defensive back, had an unbelievably good career, and he went to Tennessee. They felt they had their quarterback. But think about this. Troy Williamson, the wide receiver, he went to Minnesota. Antrell Roll, the defensive back, went to Arizona. He had a key job in getting them into a Super Bowl. Carlos Rodgers, the defensive back, went to Washington. Mike Williams ended up going to Detroit. But think about all the teams that passed on Aaron Rodgers. DeMarcus Ware went to Dallas. Dallas, though, they had a quarterback. Sean Merriman went to San Diego. Turned out to be a tremendous player for them. And then you go on down and down and down and down. So some of these teams, Marcus Spears, the defensive end, ended up going to Dallas. Dallas had a couple of picks in that draft. Erasmus James went over to Minnesota. Minnesota had a couple of picks. And then there was Aaron Rodgers. Do you know the guy that went before Aaron Rodgers? Before Aaron Rodgers? You won't even remember this name. Fabian Washington. Fabian Washington went to Oakland with the 23rd pick in the 2005 draft. Fabian Washington. How about that? Rodgers, Favre never did the wavering every year. If Favre always said, man, I want to be a Packer for life, I don't want to go anywhere. My body will tell me what. But Favre loved the drama. He loved oh, geez, I don't know if this is going to be my. Remember, he cried on the field down in Chicago on Monday Night Football. It was either Monday night or Sunday night. But I don't. It just sounded like it was the end of it. I mean, even John Madden at the time was like, well, "There's a guy who might want to come back and boom, and Favre's gone." It had everybody thinking this was it. This was it. We don't think Favre's coming back, and then he did. Remember, Favre? They renovated Lambeau Field. They built the atrium. Favre announced to the world. He said, "Yeah, there was a rumor. I'm coming back." And then, if you remember. If you were a fan in the atrium for Fan Fest, that's when they started doing the Fan Fest. Fan Fest, you have all the tables, 5,000 people inside the atrium, all walking around, buying Packer products. The rumors Brett Favre's coming back, and then they do the introduction, and coming out of that top tower at that catwalk that leads over to the elevators, there it is, Brett Favre. And the ovation was thunderous. Thunderous. It was as loud as I can remember. I don't think I've ever heard anything that loud since. And Favre loved it. He ate it up. And then when he came running out of the Lambeau Field tunnel the first time after announcing he was coming back, the place went nuts. And Favre liked it. And that became a yearly thing. It was like Punxsutawney Phil and Seeing a Shadow. Is Favre, will he or will he not retire? And then Ted needed to know. He's like, I don't know if this guy really wants to play football anymore. And here's this guy that is an incredible quarterback. If you followed him through his career, here he is. He's falling. Well, there's no way they take Fabian Washington. There's no way. You got Baltimore and Oakland ahead of us, and we're not going to get him. We're going to start looking in a different, direction. We'll go with Roddy White, Luis Castillo, something like that. We've got all these guys. We'll find one of these guys. There's Reggie Brown. He went to Philadelphia. We can maybe get Reggie Brown, We're good. We're going to just kind of stand pat, see what happened. What? Wait a minute. What? Oakland's pick is in? Okay, who are they taking? They're probably taking Rodgers. I mean, this is a given. He's a kid from that area. They're taking Rodgers, right? Fabian Washington. What the hell? Oh, God. What do I do now? Ted's rubbing his head. Oh, what do I do? Well, I'm going to stick to my guns, take best available. That Favre guy, he's kind of a pain in the ass, but I don't know if he's going to play 2 years down the road. Maybe I should take Aaron Rodgers. He's a great quarterback. I'll take it. And the Packers pick is in. And there's Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron's going to sit for 2-3 years. And then they had to make a decision. Much like Montana, they had to make a decision. And they knew Montana was breaking down, didn't have many years left. And the old adage in football is you'd rather get rid of a guy a year too soon than a year too late. So maybe that's the Packers' modus operandi right now. When they look at Aaron Rodgers, yeah, he's had a couple of injuries. He's creeping up on 40. Yeah, maybe we'll get rid of him a couple of years too early than 2 years too late. Who knows? We'll figure it out. In the meantime, we're going to turn the keys over to you, Jordan. Golly gee. Get to drive the car. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Chime on in. This was from City. Says, I'm really concerned about Rodgers. I want to see this happen all over again. James says, you made my day. That's another thing that we can bash the Bears for. Not only did they pass on Mahomes and Watson, they passed on Rodgers. Right? Right? For a franchise that has never had a really good quarterback, not in years. And even McMahon was a tremendous quarterback in the sense that he was a good leader and he was a lightning rod. And he knew when to turn it on and what to do. He was good in his sense for what they needed. He was that kind of guy. Sometimes you get a bunch of work dogs together with personality, and the personalities and the work dogs all mesh, They're not thoroughbreds. They're not great dogs individually, but together they're a pack, man. They're a beast. And he was a leader of that beast. And that he was good for that. But as far as being a really great quarterback, nah. Not like this. Not like this. Bob says, if Rodgers did not have an MVP season and the Packers did not make the playoffs, having a questionable season, would this type of Rodgers discussion be occurring? Would the fans be more receptive to change? Well, hell yeah. But they did, and it did. And in back-to-back years, they went to – that's like saying, well, if Bart Starr didn't win so many championships, would he really be considered the greatest quarterback in Packer history? No. Favre would be. And until Rodgers gets to another Super Bowl, Favre would be. We all know Favre and Rodgers, I mean, both tremendous quarterbacks. Favre is more surgeon. He's more precise. He's just statistically, overall, percentage-wise better. But we shaded the, oh, my God, he pulled that one out of his rear end plays by Brett Favre. We love Favre for that. Favre was the guy, you just never knew what he was going to do. Starr was the staunch leader. Rodgers is the smartest guy on the field. And he's like the brain surgeon walking in, and there's a Mensa meeting going on, and everybody in the Mensa meeting looks up at him and goes, yeah, I don't get it with him. He knows more than everybody. He's like seeing puzzles and numbers and pie charts and stuff in his head when the rest of us are reading, out of, just big words and coloring books. I mean, that's Favre. Or excuse me, that's Rodgers. But Bob, you're right. I mean, if he didn't have that kind of season, yeah, we wouldn't be talking about this, but he did. He did. He did it at his age. That's what's so phenomenal. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Scott says, saying Favre is a pain in the ass, but you say you can't see Rodgers being a pain in the ass. I said, no, I can't see Rodgers being that big of a pain. And Favre was, at the end, Favre was a pain in the ass. And the reason why is because Mike Sherman feared him, and Favre knew it. And that's where the problem was. And Favre began to distance himself from his team. And Favre loved the adulation. Look, all superstars have an ego. It's how grounded you remain as a superstar is going to depend on how good you are. Look at a guy like Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was the guy that he was a superstar. And he was an ego. But Peyton Manning had a way of bringing you in. He was the guy that would give everybody the Surface Pros, the iPads, or whatever it was, and he'd sit and study with you. He'd be like, look, we're going to get better. I'm the leader. Here, I'm the leader. I know I'm the leader. I know I'm the smartest guy in the room. I'm going to bring you up to my level or help you do the best you can to come up to my level. And I'm going to work with you. And whatever you need, I'm there for you. So he lowered himself in that sense to raise you up because he knew high tide raises all ships. Where Favre knew he was on a pedestal and he was like, you're a bunch of little boats. I'm up here. Towards the end. In the beginning, no, he wasn't that guy. He was one of the guys. He was running around the locker room. He was farting on people and having fun and playing his jokes and all that kind of stuff. But he was competitive. He had the heart of a lion. No doubt about it. But at the end, this was the guy that was sitting in the back of Red Batty's office, not wanting to mix and mingle with any of his teammates, put himself kind of on the pedestal. And because Mike Sherman was somewhat afraid of him, it just deteriorated. The same kind of way that, at the end of Mike McCarthy's reign in Green Bay. Because at the end of it, people were split. Who do you follow? You follow Aaron Rodgers or you follow Mike McCarthy? Well, Mike McCarthy's living right now on a sinking ship. So you stay with Rodgers. And the schism just got that big. So, yeah, I agree with that. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to chime in? Please feel free to do it. Love all the chatter today. A lot of good stuff in many circumstances over on the live feed. If you want to follow us on the Bud Light live feed too, you can do it. Follow us on Twitter at Bill_Michaels. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube. You can follow us on Twitch as well. Live TV over there. A great way to be a part of the program and chime in. I love all the comments, so keep the comments coming. Certainly appreciate it. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports, LeBlanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. In 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. As we had discussed, going into the top of the hour, the NBA and 44 players yesterday switched teams, which is the most in decades. And everybody's trying to find that shooter. Everybody's trying to find that one key piece that's going to make them better. Or, as some teams were, giving up on big-time players to begin the rebuild and the restructure and get rid of some money and trying to start all over again. So the Bucks, in the meantime, no big moves yesterday, but they're being PJ Tucker. And then you look at a team like, say, the Heat. They land Victor Oladipo. They didn't give up too much. They may, kind of keep moving on, so to speak, as far as LaMarcus Aldridge goes. But you've got the Heat, who knocked the Bucks out of the postseason. You have got the Brooklyn Nets, who have not necessarily gotten better, but they were a good team to begin with. The 76ers are winning without Joel Embiid. They've won 4 straight. You've got the Heat making moves, and now they're sitting just a game under 500. You wonder how much better they're going to be. But they have been the losers of 5 straight as well, so they're just trying to right the ship. Atlanta's kind of chomping at the bit. New York's trying to hang around right now. Boston is sitting in the 8th seed. You got the Indiana Pacers and the Chicago Bulls just outside trying to get in. Lowry did not move from Toronto, but they're probably going to just watch him walk away at the end of the season and not get anything for him, which they just couldn't clear enough space to get his salary out of there. That was part of the problem. He's just making too much money. So now, who do you believe is the legitimate threat in the East to win it all? Is it the Bucks, or do you think once Embiid comes back that Philadelphia just kind of has that mojo? They're winning without Embiid right now. Is it the Brooklyn Nets? If they can get everybody healthy, that's the thing with the Nets is they just have been they can't keep everybody on they can't. I mean, James Harden's listed as day-to-day. He's got a nagging injury. You've got Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, both out right now. So, 2/5 of their starting lineup not even playing, and those are superstars. And then the other superstar that's kind of keeping them afloat is ailing. You still have DeAndre Jordan backed up by Blake Griffin. They bring in Blake Griffin now to just give them that dunkability factor, just to be a little bit of a presence. So is Brooklyn, if they really get everybody back and healthy, are they the team to beat? Because they're getting it done basically with James Harden and DeAndre Jordan. Joe Harris, out on the outside, but are they they're hanging around with basically a couple of guys. So they get Kyrie back and KD back. I mean, is that the team to beat? Or do you think the 76ers, with their new head coach and Doc Rivers, that with what they have going on right now, that they're going to be the team to beat? And, George Hill, I take that back. George Hill is out over there as well. And George Hill has if you read some of the press clippings in Philadelphia, some of the things that are being said about George Hill, the similar stuff there that was being said here about him. Leader, kind of a stabilizer, stuff like that. So they're hoping that George Hill can come back and back up Ben Simmons over there at the point guard spot. You got Seth Curry still having a solid season. Danny Green's playing so much better. Tobias Harris, the same thing. But you get Joel Embiid, and then behind him you got Dwight Howard. And Dwight Howard's not Dwight Howard of old, but still giving you something. So, or is that the team to beat? Who's the team to beat right now in the NBA in the East? In the East. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Like I said, not a day yesterday as far as the trade value goes for the Milwaukee Bucks, but with the addition of PJ Tucker, the way you're starting to see guys like DiVincenzo starting to play well, you got to hope, you cross your fingers, you just cross your fingers that Chris Middleton continues to shoot the ball better and better and better and comes up big in the postseason. DiVincenzo continues to hit the three. Holiday is the defensive presence and the offensive prowess and the upward tick of statistics proven in the past when it comes to the postseason. And obviously Brook Lopez is just solid and steady, and he's the guy in the middle. But with Forbes and Tucker and such kind of being day-to-day right now, I think you're still pretty solid. Pat Connaughton coming off the bench. He's giving you a lot of those, what I would call Darvin Ham energy minutes. Are the Bucks the team to beat? And Giannis coming back from his nagging injury, the short-lived nagging injury. You're looking for him. He had a modest game the other night. Now you're looking for him to go back to MVP form. Or are they the team to beat? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to chime in, chime in. Love to hear it. Love to hear it from you. Mark says, a big Bucks fan. I don't know if the Bucks are going to be able to overcome both Brooklyn and the 76ers. It's going to be interesting. I'm excited for the Bucks season. Meanwhile, the Kinger says, this is the Bucks year. Brett says, I like what my Bulls did. Boy, the Bulls got exponentially better, didn't they? They're at least running right now to get themselves into the postseason, just to get some of that experience. And Kinger, I'm with you, man. We got the chug going on today. I am all over it. All over it. As a matter of fact, if you are in the Milwaukee area, I want you to listen up real quick. And I'm going to do the chug challenge today, and I'll explain it again later when I do it with the Stenny's glass. But Stenny's, and I talk about them all the time. They're great people. Stenny's, they're doing the curbside fish fry today, 11 to 8 p. Okay, they're going to do it again tomorrow as well. And in their place of business, you go in, you do all this, and you go in there and get your fish fry as well. But 50% of their sales are going to be going to their laid off staff. Remember, they had to lay off a bunch of people. They had over 100 employees, and they laid off a bunch of people. They're still paying their employees partial payments. The people they had to lay off during COVID. And Mike Roman. Now, Mike Roman is a guy that owns Roman's Pub. He's in St. Francis. And Mike was diagnosed with stage 4 esophagus cancer at the end of 2019. Now, because of diabetes and complications, he's had to have his leg amputated. And before he can get his next 2 huge cancer surgeries in his throat, they got to take his leg off. The problem is Mike can't get his leg amputated because the hospital situation right now with COVID. So it's so tough. So they're doing all of this at the bar and the restaurant to be able to donate money to some of their employees. So if you're out and about and you're going to do a fish fry, think about those people. Think about those people. There you go. Just an FYI. So they've been doing some great things down there, and I just wanted to pass it along. So anyway, they've donated a lot of money, and it was one of those things that popped up today on my Facebook feed, and I thought, you know what? We'll do our part. We'll kind of put the word out. 877-867-1670. Let's step away. We'll come back. We'll take a quick break. I got people chiming in on the Bucks, whether or not they think the Bucks are going to be the team to beat in the East. I do want to finish up with that. We'll get back into some other things coming up in the next hour. We're less than a week away from Brewers baseball, so I'm fired up about that. We can talk some baseball as well. It's a Friday. Friday becomes kind of the melting pot Friday of stuff. So whatever you got, bring it. We got more after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
How are we looking? Bill Michaels Show is back on this Friday. About 10 minutes away from getting underway for a Badger hockey. Keep you up to date on that today. Brewers have set their rotation. Freddie Peralta throwing really well. He displaces Josh Lindblom, who's going to go to the bullpen. Your rotation is going to be Woodruff, Burns, Hauser, Anderson, and Peralta. Well, you got Josh Hader in the closer's role. Devin Williams. Devin Williams going to be kind of your setup guy. Now you got Brent Suter, Justin Topa, Eric Yardley, Feyereisen, Rasmussen, Lindblom, all back there. And you're starting, starting 8 beyond that with good depth. I'm excited for that. Man, the season can't get here quick enough. It just can't. Just can't. Fired up. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. This is from Brett. Says, what do you make of the flood of transfers in college basketball? And does Wisconsin bring in any experienced contributors? I don't know what there's quite a few players. Hey, speaking of, since their basketball program, they finally broke their silence this morning. More than a week after six of their players. Now, not only do they have players graduating, but 6 of their players have left the team. 6 of their players left the team. Their head coach, John Brennan, he hasn't said anything publicly, but the university now at least acknowledging there's a problem there. And basically, what had happened was the players just said that he was apathetic to some of the challenges they faced due to COVID. He was just weird in the way he divulged playing time. The players didn't understand what he was doing. And quite frankly, some of them just said, we don't even trust the guy. And we all went out. I mean, they have like 3 players. They have like 3 players They got one guy coming in on scholarship, and they don't even have right now. They've got like a total of, if you call the 2 walk-ons, they've got like 5 guys, but three scholarship players. I mean, it's the whole team quit. They left. So because of COVID, because of players and the rules the way they are now, allowing people to enter the portal, if you don't get the playing time you want, if you do get the playing time, but maybe it's not the system you want, you get a chance to go to a particular school that maybe is your favorite. Maybe you get there and you find out that they recruited you, but they really didn't, they didn't live up to the promises, whatever. That's the reason. Now that you're allowed to do that, that's the reason the players are taking advantage of it. So your second portion of the question is, do the Badgers go in that direction of grabbing a portal player or two? Yeah, maybe they do. Maybe they do. I don't know how much room they have in the roster, but maybe they do. Maybe there's a guy out there that looks over the fence and says Wisconsin's my home, and then they have a space for him. But it was some of the guys that are saying, hey, as a senior, I've decided I'm not going to come back. But I haven't looked at the full roster going into next season as to what it is they're going to have and if they have space for a transfer. I'll have to look. 877-867-1670. Hey, a little bit of news. Hello, folks. Jim Nantz is coming back. He's staying with CBS. He's agreed to a new deal to keep calling the Masters, the NFL, and the NCAA men's basketball tournament. He had a salary last year. His last contract was $6.5 million a year. $6.5 million a year. The New York Post had reported back in November that he wanted to be paid more than Romo because he's the play-by-play guy. Romo is just the color guy. He wanted to be paid more than Romo, who signed the richest deal in sports broadcast history last year at $17.5 million a year. And Romo strictly calls the NFL games. While Nantz, he's the voice of all of those premier sports. So apparently ESPN came calling, and they made him an offer, but for whatever reason, you would assume it's money, but Nantz has worked it out with CBS, and Jim Nantz is going to stay with CBS. He's going to stay with CBS. So Jim Nantz not going to ESPN, sticking with CBS, and you're still going to hear his voice calling the Masters. Hello, folks. Butler Cabin. It's my home. I peed right here on this chair. I marked it. It's my territory. Let's do this. We'll step away, take a quick break, come back. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, Marquette has its new basketball coach. According to multiple outlets, Golden Eagles going to hire Shaka Smart from Texas. The 43-year-old grew up near Madison, led VCU to the Final Four back in 2011, took the Texas job in 2015. Well, they made the tournament 3 times. They lost in the first round each time, including being knocked out of this year's bracket by 14th-seeded Abilene Christian. Smart will replace Steve Wojciechowski, who was fired after 7 seasons last week. Turn to the Badgers, Trevor Anderson has entered the transfer portal. The senior guard going to take advantage of the NCAA getting all players an extra year of eligibility due to the pandemic and finish his career elsewhere. 4 other Wisconsin seniors have said they're moving on to the next step in their life. Only guard Brad Davison hasn't made his decision public. Meanwhile, the NBA, Bucks getting ready for another date against Boston tonight. Fiserv Forum beat them earlier this week, 121-119.
Hey, honey, how was your day? Well, I brought home a delicious dinner and possibly $10K. That's $10,000. That's a good day. It's Quick Trip's take-home meal sweepstakes. Try our chicken, bacon, mac and cheese, spicy chicken penny, spaghetti, and more. Buy with your rewards card, and you could win $10,000. No purchase necessary. See stores for details. Dinner, fresh from our kitchen to heat and eat in yours. But let's be honest, they had me at $10K. The take-home meal sweepstakes from Quick Trip. We got dinner covered.
Well, the Brewers have set their starting rotation for at least the first 5 games. Going to go Brandon Woodruff, Corbin Burns, Adrian Hauser, Brett Anderson, and Freddie Peralta. Manager Craig Counsell said Peralta, much different guy than he was a couple years ago.
He's pitching like a starting pitcher. The pitches he used, the weapons he had for different hitters, different handedness hitters, just really a complete step up from a couple years ago when he had to rely on a fastball, essentially. And so he's worked really hard to get to this place.
Opening day next Thursday. Wisconsin hockey team in action against Bemidji State in the NCAA tournament right now. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Here in just a little bit, so we're going to be checking out the game, and we'll let you know about how the Badgers hockey program is doing throughout the program today. As they get underway, they just dropped the puck, and it's early on, so we'll keep you abreast of what's going on the ice as the Badgers in the regional in the NCAA championship, which is going to take Bridgeport regional semifinal right now, is the Bemidji State at number 4, the 4 seed, the Beavers. And the Wisconsin Badgers go at it. Good stuff. This one's from Mark. Mark writes, hey, guys, I think that the Bucks are going to play extremely well and get to an Eastern Conference Finals. I just don't know if they have enough. 3 superstars over on Brooklyn is probably going to be what's propelling Brooklyn to a championship. Brooklyn is going to rest, and then he's got in parentheses, and it makes sense, KD and Kyrie, until they are 120% ready to go. They don't need to win regular season games. They will win in the postseason. 100% agree. There's no reason in the world to rush those guys back. I mean, if you start going on a losing streak and you're in jeopardy of really falling and having some really tough first round, second round, third round matchups, whatever it happens to be, I get it, but they're pretty solid. And Kevin Durant has really been an asset to that team. So I don't see them rushing those guys back anytime soon. Give them all the time in the world. You saw what happened when KD rushed it back last time. He got to the postseason and then ended up snapping the Achilles, and that was all she wrote. And then Golden State pretty much fell apart, and away they went. 877-867-1670. This is from Padre Dave, who says, I understand people's frustration and anger with the Green Bay Packers. They have been my team for over 2 decades. I enjoy Packer football. I love watching Aaron Rodgers play. It's a thing of beauty, almost an art form, with the way he can figure things out, still throw the football, and throw it with such precision. However, I do not understand the need to force him out. I understand the salary cap situation, and I understand the money aspect of this. But when you have a talent that is a once-in-a-lifetime type of talent, why would you then try to part ways with it so quickly? If you still have him in his prime, you have to figure it out. That's what you do, and that's what your job is. If you're not in it to win it, then why are you even in a position of power? I question what's going on behind the walls at Lambeau Field. I wish I was a fly on the wall like all of us just to figure out what the conversations are between Mark Murphy, Russ Ball, and Brian Gutekunst. Does Matt LaFleur have any say in the quarterback that he wishes to have, or is this just strictly the 3-headed monster that is the front office? There you go, Padre Dave. That is, I got to think, I got to think that Matt LaFleur is, as Mark Murphy was knocking down the windmills, so to speak, I got to think that Mark Murphy has all of them in a room pretty consistently to say, okay, what are we doing? What's going on? There's a lot of speculation, consternation about our team, a lot of thoughts right now about how we kind of look a little foolish, like we're trying to force out, PR-wise, we're taking a hit, like we're trying to force out our quarterback. So what's going on? And what is the end game here? And then the explanation. And that's where I'd love to be a fly on the wall. That's where I'd love to be a fly on the wall. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670 If you want to hit us up, feel free to go ahead and do it. 877-867-1670. You can follow us on Twitter at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels, on Facebook as well. Facebook, The Bill Michaels Show. The Bill Michaels Show. Hit us up on YouTube and on Twitch TV. You can watch and subscribe. And thanks to everybody that does. I always appreciate it. Whether we agree or we agree to disagree. I love the interaction. I really, really, truly do. People always say, why you get so mad? It's not mad. It's nothing more than I'd get, with my buddies. It's good stuff. It's great stuff. So I really, really appreciate it. We're almost to 1,500 subscribers on YouTube, by the way. Almost to 1,500. It's 1,490 something. I don't know how many subscribers there are specifically, but it's 1,490 plus. We need what, three to five more probably? Boy, I'd love to go over 1,500 a day. If you're driving around or maybe you want to subscribe to us on YouTube, it's easy. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels. You can find just Bill Michaels. And then when it pops up, just please hit subscribe. It's great. It's a picture of me, actually, because somebody had just asked me, too, where'd that picture come from? That is a picture from when I was doing some stage work at the Bud Light Pavilion, at the Budweiser Pavilion at State Fair Park. And they had a band there called Cherry Pie, who I think many people in the state know who Cherry Pie is, but if you don't, they're like an 80s rock hair band. They do a ton of covers, but everywhere they go, they pack the place. And that night it was about 78 degrees. We were doing an event for Fisher House, Wisconsin, so it was for a lot of veterans, and we were raising money, and Cherry Pie was playing, so they bring in a crowd anyway, and there was about 5,000 people there. It was electric that night, and we had such a great time. And I said, you know what, I'm going to take a picture. Well, somebody took a picture of me taking a picture of them. And it was just one of the coolest silhouettes. And so that's the picture over there on the YouTube channel. So, but that's what that is. That's the Budweiser Pavilion. And I can't wait. I believe the rumors are that Wednesday Night Live is going to be coming back. And the bands are going to be hitting the stages beginning of June on Wednesday night all the way through the end of August. So I'm really, really excited about this. Really excited about this. And Wednesday Night Live again this year. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Yes, Kinger, are you ready for some college hockey? You better believe it. You better believe it. Brett also says, how's the producer search coming on? It is the producer search for the Bill Michaels Show. I'm getting a lot of people out of Milwaukee. And you have to reside or be willing to drive to Madison every day. So you got to produce the show in Madison. So that's one of the things when you say that, people are like, I don't know if I want to move cities. I moved in 5 cities. I went from Cincinnati to Rushville, Indiana, back to Cincinnati, then to Columbus, Ohio, back to Cincinnati. I had a stint in Indianapolis and then got the call from the Packers. Between Indianapolis and Milwaukee, I ended up going back to Cincinnati for a short stay because I wanted to be near my kids. But before finally the TMJ and the Packers came calling, and then that's when I made the jump. And I've been here ever since. I've been here. This is 21 years, man. 22, really. This will be my 22nd season of Packers football. Can't wait. My 22nd season of Brewers baseball too. Love it. When I got here, we're coming out of the lockout. George Karl was the new head coach. The Bucks played some winning basketball, got themselves into the postseason in the 1999-2000 season, and in 2001 it just took off. It was great. It was electric. Packers were winning games. Favre was the man. Marquette was starting to climb because that was Tom Crean. Everything happened at once. It was interesting because Mike Holmgren had left, and while the Packers were winning games, they were still 8-8 because that was the first season of Ray Rhodes, and then they just turned it around after that. But I got here. Tom Crean got here. Bo Ryan got here because Bo Ryan took over UWM. Wayne Larrivee got here. We got interviewed in the same time frame. Who else? Who was the manager of the Brewers? Phil Garner. Scrap Iron was the manager of the Brewers. And then it was shortly after that he ended up getting canned. Some blame my commentary on Phil Garner. I love Phil Garner. He was a great guy, but I had said at the beginning of the season, I said, if this guy wins every game this year, he's still going to be a sub 500 manager for the Brewers. I mean, that's how much sub-mediocrity they had with the Milwaukee Brewers for a long period of time. But Phil Garner was the manager. County Stadium was still here. They just started breaking ground on Miller Park. Boy, how much has changed. Dick Bennett was still the head coach out of Wisconsin. He was getting ready to take his team to the Final Four. That was still just that still gives me goosebumps to this day. Watching the Final Four take place. Even though the Badgers lost, I still believe that the Badger fans had everything in the world to do with Michigan State winning that title. And the Flintstones. Remember the Flintstones? Playing for Tom Izzo. Man, what a time. Harkening back. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to chime in, feel free to go ahead and do so. Jim says with Rodgers, he seems to be what's referred to as a basketball, as a great regular season player. When the playoff time comes around, he slides back into the sandlot football, drawing up plays in the dirt. Sometimes it works out, but the offense timing gets off and everybody blames coaching. Jim, this year, I could say, yeah. This year, I would say yes. But see, people say he doesn't win big games. Well, is the first game of the playoff a big game? You know? Is the first game of the playoff a big? The Badgers are down 1-0, by the way. 12:50 remaining in the first period. Bemidji State got an early goal. But that's my point. Is people say, well, he doesn't win the big game. He doesn't win the end of the season. I can go through all the NFC Championship games. He went through damn near everybody. And remember, if he has a season of, say, quarterback rating of 120, do you expect that against the second best or the first best team in the NFC? Of course not. So his number doesn't hit 120. People say, well, he had a bad game. Now, bad games throwing 2 and 3 and 4 picks. A bad game was when Brett Favre went in to St. Louis to take on the Rams and threw 6 interceptions. A couple of them for scores. That was a bad game. 4th and 26 was a bad game. You know? So, Aaron Rodgers in his first NFC Championship game, they win it, they win a Super Bowl. The next one, banged up, really didn't have a reason to be there, but clearly outcoached and outplayed. In 2014, they outplayed Seattle. They just made their own mistakes. I mean, can you blame it on Rodgers? I think part of it was McCarthy's play calling. He took his foot off the gas in the third quarter. And again, I went through the whole list. There's like 7 plays in that game. You know, Clay Matthews pulling himself out of the goal line. Micah Hyde not know where he should be on the 2-point conversion. He gets burned. Morgan Burnett going down when he picks off Russell Wilson, and inexplicably Julius Peppers yells, get down, get down, get down. When Morgan Burnett had daylight all over him. So, and then Bostic. And Bostic, he grabs the football for whatever reason and doesn't allow Jordy Nelson to come down with it. I mean, there was a lot of reasons as to why the Packers lost that game. That wasn't Rodgers. Rodgers willed them to the game in Atlanta in the NFC Championship game. They were outmatched. I mean, they just were. That wasn't because Rodgers played bad. They were outmatched. They were a team that couldn't defensively stop what Atlanta was bringing, and they beat the hell. That was when, remember, Rodgers had the bad calf muscle, and he couldn't hardly run, and the only real drive they had going, Ripkowski fumbled the football. So that was a game that was given away. This past, 2 years ago against San Francisco, their defense couldn't stop anybody. Didn't matter what the offense did. The defense couldn't stop anybody. Mostert ran wild. Do you remember that? And then this past year, they could have won that game. They could have won that game, and they didn't. So this year, I can say, I'm with you. He kept looking for Devontae Adams, did not run for daylight, didn't see Allen Lazard, threw a pick, forcing a ball in. Okay, I'll go along with that. Don't forget Aaron Jones also fumbled the football. And yes, on 3 turnovers, they only scored 3 points. Offense didn't do much. I'll agree with that as well. So this year I can give you 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. But I'm not going to say he's not a big game quarterback because he gets you to NFC championship games. He's won in a Super Bowl and looked good doing it in that game. But also the defense came up big in that game too. But remember that pass to Jordy Nelson he had on the back shoulder, and Jordy went in for a touchdown. Greg Jennings as well played unbelievably in that game. But when you're going up against the best of the best and you're down to the Final Four, those Final Four are there for a reason. I don't expect him to have a 125 quarterback rating. What I expect him to do is lead his team, make viable drives, put points on the board, and then the defense has to take over. And the problem is in the last 3-4 different NFC championship games, the defense has not been able to take over. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network. From the kennel to the coop, Fleet Farm has everything you need to keep your animals happy and healthy. Whether you're training your pup to sit, mastering those retrieval skills, flipping your horse for competition, keeping the backyard birds well fed, or loving your pet, there's a reason people say, if Fleet Farm doesn't have it, I don't need it. Because we have it all. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
Film will resume in 3 minutes.
Welcome back to the program, The Bill Michaels Show. We enjoying the day today. The rain has stopped. Still going to be kind of cool over the weekend. Speaking of the weather, I got an update today. Opening day next week. Our buddy Drew Burgoyne says still mostly sunny opening day now, high in the low 40s. The low 40s. Temperature continues to drop in the forecast. High in the low 40s now. There you go. There you go. So this set the world on fire. In case you are just tuning in, the San Francisco 49ers have jumped up and made a trade. They are now owning the 3rd overall pick in the NFL draft. Why is that significant? Why is that significant? The 3rd overall pick in the NFL draft. Some are saying, now I'm not one of them because I don't think this would happen, but some are saying that that they're going to offer up the 3rd overall pick an additional trade, such as a, quote, Garoppolo as a backup for Aaron Rodgers. Bring Rodgers back to Frisco, get that team back and healthy again. The Packers can move on with Jordan Love. I don't think it can happen because there's too much, which is the reason the Packers did not restructure his deal, was because if they would trade him away, then you got to eat all of that money. But I don't know how that would go with that contract. I'd have to wait and see. But that's what's floating around out there. Now, I don't buy it. I just don't. But apparently that's running rampant in the Frisco area. So I'm not going in the direction, but if that's the direction some of you want to go, go. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know how you make that money work. Because the Packers would then unless San Francisco had the ability, I don't know how that would work. I'm not a capologist here. So I apologize, but they would owe Rodgers his money. Trade. So his dead cap hit this year would be $38 million. And basically it would be what they're paying him. So you'd make a couple of cuts, you'd bring in your rookies, you bring in Garoppolo, trade away Aaron Rodgers, and then next year you give Jordan Love the keys to the castle now, then next year you would have in essence $40 million almost to play with. And then Garoppolo is either your starter or your backup behind Jordan Love, if that's the direction you wanted to go. I personally, I don't see that happening. And I don't even think San Francisco. Now, the Bleacher Report is coming out per Adam Schefter and stating that the 49ers have no plans to trade Jimmy Garoppolo, because that was the rumor, was that they were going to jump up in the draft, take one of the top quarterbacks, because Justin Fields is expected to go number 3. Trevor Lawrence, number 1, Zach Wilson, number 2, and Justin Fields, I should say, number 3. And then possibly Trey Lance, the quarterback from North Dakota State, at number 4. But I don't think the deal works for the Packers. I take that back. I don't think the deal works for the 49ers to do something like that, because I don't think they have the space. I don't know what they would have to do to get there, if you know what I mean. The 49ers, then again, man, they're sitting right now with about $20 million in cap space. They'd have to do a lot of cutting. but they're sitting with about $20 million in cap space. Then again, you get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo, that's $20 million. That's $26 million. You'd have the money. They could do it. They could swing it. Garoppolo this year is zero guaranteed salary, but his base salary is $24.1 million. So basically the cap number is 26.4 when you talk about roster bonuses and such. They have $20 million. You could do it. You could do it. I just don't think the Packers are going to turn around with a draft choice and Jimmy Garoppolo for Aaron Rodgers. How are you going to sell that to your Packers fan base? I don't think that's a possibility. Uh, 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Mark says Justin Fields not that good of a quarterback. I've been saying this for a while. I agree with you, Mark. I've been agreeing with you. I don't think as much as people really like Justin Fields, and I'm sure he's a tremendous athlete. I think he's a big, long looping thrower. He doesn't have the greatest accuracy. He's more of a runner. He's one of these ride and decide guys. He's not your typical pocket quarterback in the NFL. Tell me the last quarterback that came out of Ohio State that was worth a damn. They're just not. The deal is the Dolphins trading the number 3 pick to the 49ers for the number 12 pick and a third round this year and a first round pick in 2022 and 2023. Wow. They must really, really, really be targeting someone. Wow. That's a huge deal to move up from 12 to 3. And they say they have no plans of trading away Jimmy Garoppolo. Are you kidding me? So the Dolphins are trading the number 3 pick overall to the 49ers for the number 12 pick, which is the 49ers pick this year, a 2021 third round pick, which is San Francisco's compensatory pick for Robert Saleh, and first round pick in 2022 and 2023. This is a huge deal with ramifications for years to come, according to Adam Schefter. That's a big deal. They have their sights set on somebody specific. And then right after that, they say they have no intentions of trading Jimmy Garoppolo. My ass. Wow. That is a big deal. So the Dolphins, remember, they traded Laramie Tunsil. They traded him away to Houston. They've turned that into 4 first-round picks and a third-round pick. That's a big deal. Adam Schefter also reporting the 49ers are squarely in the quarterback mix now, but they are holding on to Jimmy Garoppolo and have no plans to trade him at all, according to sources there. And according to the 49ers, they traded up with zero specific quarterback in mind. They traded up because, quote, they are good with the options that they will have sitting at number 3. That's a big deal, man. That's a really big deal. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Jack says, I would love to see the Packers be this aggressive just once, just to go for it. Find the guy that they want and bring him in. I don't know if I'd sacrifice that much of the future, though. The Eagles also traded the 6th pick in the draft to Miami for 12 and a 22nd first rounder as well. That's according to Field Yates. So there's movement all over the place. The Dolphins are all over the joint, man. Holy mackerel. The Dolphins are just scooping up picks like crazy. And the Eagles are in on this. It's just, man, there's all kinds of trading going on right now. Trying to stay up with it. All right, let's do this. The Badgers are down with 2 minutes plus to go in the first period. Bemidji State leading the Badgers in men's hockey right now, 1-0. Badgers have had a couple of shots. One flew off the crossbar, almost went in, just didn't. And that was really kind of one of their better shots at it. In the meantime, both teams played stellar defense. It's just you're trying to get the Badgers to drop one in the back of the net, tie this thing up, and then get it back to a clean slate going into the second period. Hang in there. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
High fives, Wisconsin.
Gina Dello from Pella. What's the celebration?
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin was just named NARI's Distributor of the Year.
That's a big deal.
You're not kidding, but there's more. The International Builder Show just named Pella's new Easy Slide Operator Best Window and Door Product of the Year.
Another Pella innovation that eliminates the repetitive cranking motion on case awning windows with an easy slide.
A real blessing for those with hand and wrist issues.
Why crank your windows when you can easily slide, right?
But there's still more.
Oh, you mean based on the 2019 consumer survey on leading brands that Pella is rated #1 for highest value, highest quality.
Yes, but there's still more. Now get 5 years, no interest, plus 5 months, no first payment.
Pella now, pay later. High fives all around.
But only through March 31st. Set your free consultation today at PellaWI.com/radio or 855-PELLA-WI.
For details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Modern warriors, satellite horses of chrome, taste the wild.
Welcome back to the program, the Bill Michaels Show on the air, and we are glad you are with us. Thanks as always. So the trade going down in the NFL, it is pretty massive. It is, and now this is what the Dolphins just moved. This is amazing. So the Dolphins get the number 6 pick and the number 156th pick overall. The Eagles get the 12th and the number 23rd overall, and the 2022nd first-round pick, while the Dolphins move into the number 12 pick that they receive for the 49ers in the deal with the Eagles. The Dolphins are just... They've traded up. They've garnered picks. Wow. With all of this. And the Eagles trade picks for number 6 and number 156. And the Dolphins already, the Eagles were trying to trade up to number 3, by the way. They also were trying to move up in the draft. Instead, they backed out. They get an extra first rounder, and they continue to build. That's according to Ian Rappaport. The Dolphins and the 49ers dealing draft picks in Miami, as we all know, not done, because they were then dealing more with the Eagles. But the top of the NFL draft board, a major shakeup today. If you're just tuning us in, ESPN, the Dolphins trade the number 3 pick overall in this year's draft to the 49ers for the number 12 pick and a 2021 third-round pick and a first-round pick in 2022 and 2023. It's a massive haul for the Dolphins, who continue to just wrap their arms around more and more and more and more draft capital. Meanwhile, for the 49ers, the move almost certainly indicates that they're considering a quarterback, given the draft capital of San Francisco and what they used to move up in the draft. It means that the current 49ers quarterback starter, Jimmy Garoppolo, his future with the team, could be in. Looks like they may be moving him. There's several high-profile quarterbacks who are going to be available in the draft. Clemson's Trevor Lawrence, widely projected as the number 1 pick. There's Zach Wilson, North Dakota State's Trey Lance, Ohio State's Justin Fields, all players that could be taken. Apparently, it's Shanahan really likes Justin Fields. That at least that's the rumor, even though they've reported we're good with any of them. The team's currently holding pick number 2 through 4. The Jets, the 49ers, and the Falcons all have been linked to potential passers in mock draft projections. So, man, there's a lot of movement going on in the NFL, and we're past the trade deadline, so to speak, for the NBA. But man, the NFL is a flurry right now. So the NFL draft, the updated NFL draft, looks like this. The Jaguars have the number 1 overall, and that appears to be Trevor Lawrence. The Jets at number 2. The 49ers now at number 3. Because remember, Miami got that pick from Houston, and then Miami traded it away to the 49ers. At number 4 will be the Falcons. At number 5 will be the Bengals. At number 6 now will be the Dolphins, who just got that pick from Philadelphia. So the Lions at number 7, the Panthers at number 8, the Broncos at number 9, the Cowboys at number 10, the Giants at 11, and now the Eagles from San Francisco through Miami will now be sitting at number 12. So, man, oh, man, oh, man. A lot of movement going on. A lot of movement going on. And everybody is saying that the 49ers have no plans to trade Jimmy Garoppolo. Meanwhile, you've got, just aftershock running through the league right now, and a lot of rumors and speculations about could there possibly be some deal in the works to try to bring a guy like Aaron Rodgers back if they indeed would trade away a top pick for the Packers. I don't know what Aaron Rodgers would bring. Aaron Rodgers would have to bring a couple of first rounders, a second rounder, whatever, to kind of go from there. And then after that, additional players. I can't imagine what Aaron Rodgers would bring at this point. And it would have to be Russell Wilson type of deal, what they were at least being reportedly offering from the Bears that did not pry Russell Wilson away from Seattle, right? At least that much. At least that much. Some bad news as the first period has ended. The Badgers right now trailing Bemidji State 2-0 just before the horn sounds with, 15, 20 seconds to go, something like that. Bemidji State scores again, and I think that's what it was. It may have been a little bit more than that, but Bemidji State scores again, so they go into the exchange, so to speak. And between the first and second period, right now they're in the locker room trying to figure out what just happened as the fourth-ranked Bemidji State, or the fourth seed, I should say, not ranked, but the fourth seed Bemidji State Beavers up 2-0 on the Wisconsin Badgers. Hey, they are the original New Male Medical Center at treating guys with ED and others. They have come along and they've tried to emulate what they do. But, if everybody's trying to do what you do, that means you're doing something right? You get it? They're the original. They're the number 1. That's New Male Medical Center. Guys, listen up. And maybe even partners of guys here, listen up. The medical experts at New Male Medical Center, they're trying to help out guys with ED. And they have a 98% success rate. If I told you 98% success rate in anything you did, you'd do it, right? Sure you would. Hell yeah, if you got an issue. When it comes to low energy, brain fog, feeling sluggish, moody, up and down, whatever it is, they have low T treatments there as well. They treated me for that, and it's been great. It's been absolutely awesome. It's something that gives you more energy, better mental clarity, better mood, better stamina. When you talk about low T and raising your testosterone and such back up, it's just awesome. And then there's the all-in-one weight loss program, and that has been unbelievably effective. I got a jump start on that earlier this week. Now, throughout the COVID pandemic and such, I went from 292 down to 239. I since then have gained about 10 pounds. I want to lose the 10 pounds. So this week I committed to it. I said, okay, that's it. This week I'm going to lose, actually a little bit more than that, but I want to be down to 230 and comfortably when I start to, go out, do appearances, but also play golf, at the swimming pool, on the boat, on the motorcycle, all that stuff. I want to be comfortable. Okay. So I started the all-in-one weight loss program again. I kind of reignited it, and this week in the last couple of days has been like 4 pounds. It's been great. It works. You just got to follow it. So all you got to do is call. They have 2 locations, but 1 phone number, and it's my phone number to you. 414-455-4451. Tell me Bill sent you. 414-455-4451. Again, 414-455-4451. It really does work, but it doesn't work at all if you don't pick up the phone. If you're thinking about losing weight, if you're thinking about more energy, and they have vitamins and supplements and such as well. If you just kind of want to get a kind of a re-jump start on the chemistry of your body, whether it's erectile dysfunction, again, that's what is an issue. Don't ignore it. Let them help you out. 414-455-4451. That's 414-455-4451. When we come back, we'll kind of pick up where we left off. The Badgers, unfortunately, right now trailing 2-0 at the or I shouldn't say the midway point, at the end of the first period. Hopefully they can bounce back beginning the second, coming up here shortly. Hang in there. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. And with all the movement going on right us in. The 49ers and the Dolphins, they make a deal. 49ers jump up to number 3. Trade away their picks and numerous picks to the Dolphins, who continue to just kind of wrap their arms around more and more draft choices. Andrew Brandt had a great point, because then the Eagles jumped into it, and the Eagles wanted to move up and trade. And Andrew Brandt, the Eagles-Dolphins trade today does not happen without Doug Peterson. Now, he's the former head coach. Doug Peterson strategically benched Jalen Hurts and played Sudfeld against Washington. And Andrew Brandt then hashtag tanking matters. So that's how they were able to kind of move some picks around. Where you go back to Michael Silver tweets out for the 49ers fans, quoting Eddie DeBartolo, quoting his late father during the San Francisco Stadium vote campaign back in the 90s. He said, "You've got to bring ass to get ass." That's funny. That's funny. I mean, this is something that really kind of set the NFL world Twitter literally today. Yeah, big time. And by the way, what I think is going to happen. Now, this could be just me, but the likelihood for those that were thinking that in some way, shape, or form this was going to involve some type of a trade that was going to bring Aaron Rodgers to San Francisco in some weird way. I have no idea. Jim Trotter said it best. He said, love this trade by the 49ers. They clearly believe they're going to get their long-term quarterback, that everybody believes that it's Justin Fields, that he's the guy they want, unless it's Mac Jones, who's more of an NFL-ready quarterback. Now, this clears the way to trade Garoppolo to New England. Trotter says it's my educated guess, and they feel really confident that the Jets are going to draft Wilson. So that's what they feel. And that's his perspective, and that there's been some thought that Garoppolo would, and the reuniting of him and Bill Belichick would make more sense, even though they have Cam Newton under a 1-year deal. There's nothing that says Cam Newton has to be your starter after a somewhat disappointing season last year. So a lot of stuff going on, man. A lot of stuff in the world of the NFL. Nothing so far as Packers, though. You got Aaron Jones talking today, signing his deal officially, by the way. They had to get some things kind of, written out. And I talked about the possibility of Bay during the NFC title game, or after the NFC title game. He said to the media, he said, quote, "Man, is this the way my career is going to end in Green Bay?" He said, "I feel like we have unfinished business here." Remember, he fumbled, was in, and then never saw the field again. So he has not been able to get back on the fields then for the Packers. Glad to be back in green and gold. So a lot of stuff happening in the NFL today. Meanwhile, the Badgers hockey program down right now 2-0 to Bemidji State. Coming out of the locker room at the start of the second period. Keep you up to date on that for at least as long as we're on the air. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. A lot of movement today. A lot of good stuff to talk about today. This is from Chris says, where did you get your football mini helmet, your high school? Looking to get one made. Actually, I got it from my high school. They sent it to me. So I didn't have it made. I didn't have it made. It was actually sent to me. I did about 5 years ago. They asked me to come back. If you know the Bill Hemmer was, I think he's on Fox News now, if I'm not mistaken, because he was with CNN for a while. But Bill Hemmer's on CNN and then went to Fox. Kyle Rudolph is the tight end, was the tight end for the Minnesota Vikings at the time. And they invited a bunch of us back to do either media or, I don't know, I'm not in that category at all, but they invited me back. And we did this, a couple of different things at one of their nights, speeches. And they had to speak. And when I did that, that was one of the things they sent me. So that's the reason I got a bobblehead too. There you go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Eric said, watching the game right now, lack of defense from Wisco, zero agency right now with his team. That's the reason down 2-0 to Bemidji State in the NCAA championship tournament. Bridgeport regional semifinals right now. The Badgers trailing just to open up the second period. Karen says, thanks for the dog cam. What's his or her name? Well, Elmo is the dog that the camera is on right now. That's Elmo. And the other one is Mickey. Mickey was a little while ago, but Elmo doesn't even have his face turned towards the camera right now for those watching on the Bud Light live stream. Elmo's kind of got his back to us, but he does that. He kind of faces the wall a lot. He's a little bit older. They say, I don't know why, but they say dogs as they get older, it's not so much dementia. It's that they don't like the open spaces and all the different things that can kind of grab their attention. It scares them. So anyway, long story short, he faces the wall a lot, being 14 and a half years old. There you go. Dropping some dog knowledge on you today. Dropping some dog knowledge on you. This is a great question by Kinger. Kinger, every now and then you get me, man. Get me. We'll talk about that when we come back. What are your thoughts? Who is less likely to finish their career with their original team? Aaron Rodgers or Giannis? That's a great question. My hope is both. They are both going to finish their careers with their team. My hope. That's my hope. We have got a lot more to get to and another hour yet to do it. Get your chugs ready. Get your beers out. It's coming up here in about 45 minutes. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, Marquette has its new basketball coach. According to multiple outlets, Golden Eagles going to hire Shaka Smart from Texas. The 43-year-old grew up near Madison, led VCU to the Final Four back in 2011, took the Texas job in 2015. Well, they made the tournament 3 times. They lost first round each time, including that of this year's bracket by 14th seeded Abilene Christian. Smart will replace Steve Wojciechowski, who was fired after 7 seasons last week. Turning the bat, Trevor Anderson has transferred portal. The senior guard going to take advantage of the NCAA giving all players an extra year of eligibility due to the pandemic and finish his career elsewhere. 4 other Wisconsin seniors have said they're moving on to the next step in their life. Only guard Brad Davis hasn't made his decision public. Now the NBA, Bucks getting ready for another date against Boston tonight. Fiserv Forum beat them earlier this week, 121-119.
Hey, honey, how was your day? Well, I brought home just dinner and possibly $10K. That's $10,000. That's a good day. It's Quick Trip's Take-Home Meals Sweepstakes. Try our chicken, bacon, mac and cheese, spicy chicken penny, spaghetti, and more. Buy with your rewards card, and you could win $10,000. No purchase necessary. See stores for details. Dinner, fresh from our kitchen, heat and eat in yours. But let's be honest, they had me at $10K. The Take-Home Meals Sweepstakes from Quick Trip. We got dinner covered.
Well, the Brewers have set their starting rotation for at least the first 5 games. Going to go Brandon Woodruff, Corbin Burns, Adrian Hauser, Brett Anderson, and Freddie Peralta. Manager Craig Counsell said Peralta, much different guy than he was a couple years ago.
He's pitching like a starting pitcher. The pitches he used, the weapons he had for different hitters, different handedness hitters, just really complete step up from a couple years ago when he had to rely on baseball, essentially. And so he's worked really hard to get to this place.
Open day next Thursday. The Wisconsin hockey team in action against Bemidji State in the NCAA tournament right now. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Quinn.
Wisconsin went on the 5-3 power play, and they hit the back of the net. Finally, they dent the scoreboard with 17:22 to go in the second period. They have hit the back of the net. Bemidji State still leading 2-1, and the Badgers still have 1:05 left to go in the 5-on-4 power play. So the Badgers still have an opportunity. They had kind of gaffed it a little bit because they had passes that ended up making it back across the center line and looked kind of bad for the Badgers. But the Badgers on the power play still. So hopefully they can garner one more into the back of the net, tie this thing up, and then play it even throughout the rest of this contest. Watching the Badgers as they're in the regional semifinal in Bridgeport, taking on Bemidji State. So cross your fingers they can maybe put one in the back of the net here. Welcome back. Final hour of the Bill Michaels Show. And so glad to have you. By the way, this portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. And if you're looking out of your Pella Windows and Doors right now, you're enjoying the view. Me, I'm enjoying my view. You know why? The sun's come out. It's kind of dried up. I've got the Pella Windows and Doors keeping me nice and warm in here, even though the temperatures have gotten a little bit cooler. We got our official forecast for opening day, by the way, which is 42 degrees and sunny. So it's going to be a little bit brisk come opening day. But warmer weather's going to get here. And if you're still thinking about maybe possibly doing windows, doing doors, and you need to kind of get a good deal, well, I'll tell you a couple of things. First of all, NARI, the National Association of Remodeling Industry, named Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin the Distributor of the Year. Number two, the International Builders Showcase just named Pella's new Easy Slide Operator Window the best window and door product of 2021. Okay? Then, in addition to that, they were based on the 2019 customer survey. Pella windows were rated number one for highest quality, highest value, and improving your home's value. So good news there. And last but not least, through the end of the month, so you got to hurry, 5 years, no interest, plus 5 months, no first payment. How about that? That's a huge deal right there. Friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, giving you high fives to you, me, and everybody else all around. But it only lasts right now until March 31st. So set your free consultation up today. Free. Doesn't cost you anything to check it out, right? Go to PellaWI.com. That is Pella, PellaWI.com. They've got beautiful showrooms in Green Bay, Madison, Milwaukee as well. PellaWI.com/radio. PellaWI.com/radio, or call them 855-PELLA. 855-PELLA. Badgers let one get away on the power play. Let a pass get away from them. Back down in their own area. Penalty created. Now it's Bemidji State that is on the power play with just over a minute 20 to go, as the Badgers trail Bemidji State 2-1 right in the second period, just over 15 minutes remaining in the second period in that contest. So there you go. We'll keep you up to date. Good stuff. Good stuff. I was posting this yesterday. A little piece on the Brewers. Adam McCalvey was highlighting Christian Yelich when he hit the grand slam the other day. His second home run is as many, by the way. But there's still about a week to go, and the Brewers are going to host the Twin on opening day. Christian Yelich, though, the good news is he sent the grand slam the other day over the batter's eye at American Family Fields. That is a poke, by the way, when you hit it over the batter's eye during the Brewers' 6-run third inning against John Gray and the Rockies. This was on Wednesday, and it was his second straight day with a dinger, I should say. But after he worked his walk, Yelich called it a day with a .450 batting average, .542 on base percentage, and a 1.00 slugging percentage. That's slash line through 24 plate appearances so far this spring. The good news is he feels great. He just did an interview with the MLB and said he feels great. Last year he just didn't feel right. He was coming off of that knee injury, remember? So he just didn't ever get into a rhythm, and then obviously the pressure of the contract, the short season. So he said feels great, which is great news. On the other hand, Pena, kind of a development in Brewers camp, has been the healthy return of catcher Manny Pena, who's been lighting it up as well. He missed the second half of the shortened season last year with that right knee injury and needed surgery, by the way. And Pena right now is hitting .353, .333 on base percentage, .824, and the slugging percentage. And it hasn't been a lot of plate appearances, but he feels really good. Said he worked really, really hard during the offseason recovering from the meniscus, which, by the way, if anybody's ever had a meniscus, It's painful. It's like being somebody taking an ice pick and stabbing you in the knee if you just don't, if it gets caught wrong. Oh, my goodness. So he worked out in the pool every day, exercising, swimming. He said helps the core stronger, more stable. He said every day feeling more confident, but his core muscles feel stronger. So a couple of good notes coming out of camp, not to mention the fact that Freddie Peralta has been named as the 5th starter. Josh Lindblom going back to the pen. And Freddie Peralta has pitched himself into that 5th starter's role. So good stuff there going on for the Brewers, who continue to impress in the Cactus League and are picked to win anywhere from 82 to 87 games this year. And I personally think they're going to be battling for the top spot in the National League Central. By the way, kudos to the Badgers, who fended off the power play by Bemidji State, and they held them off. So it still stays at 2-1. But the Badgers were able to accomplish the obvious, and that is just holding them off, not allowing that lead to go back to a 2-goal lead, and they were able to do that. So there you go. Good stuff by the Badgers. Big shakeup today in the NFL. In case you're just tuning in, the Miami Dolphins traded the number 3 overall selection in the 2021 NFL Draft to the 49ers in exchange for the number 12 pick, plus a 3rd-round pick in 2022 and a 1st-round pick in 2022 and in 2023. After that deal was done, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dolphins then agreed to a trade where the Dolphins moved back up to number 6 with the Eagles, and that was according to Adam Schefter. Now, the Eagles move back to number 12 overall and get Miami's 1st-round pick in 2022. The Eagles then surrender the 156 pick overall and acquire Miami's number 123 pick. The 49ers, by taking a quarterback early on, they believe that the number 1 overall pick is going to be Trevor Lawrence. Not quite sure who the Jets are going to take, but they are kind of hoping for, and most likely it's going to be Zach Wilson of BYU that goes to the Jets. Ohio State's Justin Fields, they believe, is going to then go to the 49ers, who covet his ability. There's also North Dakota State's Trey Lance and Alabama's Mac Jones, the other contenders to be taken in the 1st round. General Manager John Lynch was on hand Friday for Wilson's pro day, so maybe he wants to go in that direction. Who knows? But by moving up to number 3 overall, the NFC West franchise essentially saying that they're comfortable with at least 3 quarterbacks in this draft class, because there is a very reasonable chance that quarterbacks are taken with the first couple of choices overall. The situation is reminiscent to 2018, and that's when New York traded up to the number 3 overall a month before the draft. They knew Cleveland was going to take a quarterback at number 1, and the door was then left open for the Giants to do something at number 2. The Jets ultimately used that selection on USC quarterback Sam Darnold, which has been somewhat of a train wreck. Now, the odds of taking each of the picks very good, as they state. The run could go even further, with Atlanta potentially in the mix at number 4 overall. Carolina, New England, Denver, Philadelphia stand out as other teams that could be in the market for help at quarterback as well. So a lot going on now. Jimmy Garoppolo has been the 49ers quarterback since being acquired in a trade from the Patriots in 2017. Garoppolo, though, has missed 23 regular season games over the past 3 seasons. And he has been just the subject of all kinds of trade speculations this offseason, and a deal probably to follow now. That's what everybody's thinking now that the team has secured the trade-up position. So, and this year in Cleveland for the 2021 NFL Draft, it's going to be more in person. There's going to be more people that are going to be invited. You're going to see a few more faces at this draft. But, boy, a lot of activity already in the NFL draft, and we're not even a draft day yet, which brings us to another thought, and that is that the Packers actively seeking to become a host city for the NFL draft. Getting the new facility where the old Brown County Arena used to be, next to the Resch Center, and trying to put some things together in Green Bay. I think it would be huge, because you're never going to get a Super Bowl in Green Bay. That's not going to happen. But I think it would be huge if the Packers could indeed get the NFL draft in Green Bay. You're kind of hit or miss with the weather. Let's be honest. At the end of April, you can get a 65-degree day, or you could get a 35-degree day. There's a vast difference in April. I mean, hell, we don't even really get consistently warm until about the third week of June, you know? So I'm all for it. You got to have some provisions, but I think the NFL would really like to do kind of what they consider to be one of the birthplaces of football and more storied franchises. I think they would love to do the draft in Green Bay, and it's a way now that they take it away from now that they take it away from New York consistently. I think it's a way to give cities the ability to do the draft for those that don't really have a legitimate shot at getting a Super Bowl, because it still brings fans, it still brings money, it still brings advertisement, it still brings notoriety to your city other than just game day, because you were on a standalone event, and it's a standalone event that's not only one day, but it's 3 days, in Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I would love to see the NFL draft come to Green Bay. There'd be a lot of preparation for that, and it's kind of the consolation prize for never really being able to ever get a Super Bowl at Lambeau Field. I mean, unless they dome that stadium or something, which I don't think they're ever going to do. But that would be the consolation prize, and I think it would be great. And I also think, and this is just my opinion, but I also think for cities that do not host Super Bowls, that you should not be eligible to get the draft. Cities like New Orleans, Miami, Tampa Bay, Dallas, LA, Vegas, places like that. Now, new stadiums, obviously, once they're built, much like in Minnesota and in New York, and for that matter, in Indianapolis, they get one-offs because of the new stadium. That's kind of what's promised to recoup some of the money, tax dollar-wise, you're not getting because of building these stadiums. But just rotate the Super Bowls. Arizona is another terrific place for a Super Bowl. Arizona, San Francisco, to an extent, up the coast, but LA. Go through those cities that can host Super Bowls, and just absolutely go ahead and grab those and get on the docket when you can. But to me, for cities that don't host Super Bowls and can't host Super Bowls because of the inclement weather, I think those are the cities that should be eligible in a rotation for the NFL draft. Just my thoughts. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Going to go ahead and take a quick break. Just to get you caught up. Bemidji State's on top of the Badgers as we speak, 2-1. The Badgers fended off the power play. So did Bemidji State, albeit the first power play, the Badgers did put one in the back of the net, which was fantastic. But still, the Badgers trailed 2-1, just over 9 minutes to go in the second period. And they've each had a couple of opportunities. The Badgers just haven't been able to put it in the back of the net consistently. They did have one bang off the crossbar a little bit earlier and fall just inches short of the red line, and therefore it was not a goal. But the Badgers just trying to climb back to even at this point. Let's hope that they can do it. Let's do this. We'll step away. We'll take a quick break. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Badgers still trailing Bemidji State 2-1 in the regional semis. The men's hockey program, just over 8 minutes to go in the second, trying to kind of put one in the net and then tie things back up, get back to even. Got a couple of things for you. Hey, tonight is the big night. In case you didn't get your reservations already, they're running some discount stuff for the weekend. But if you want to go up and have a terrific time, the Four Seasons Island Resort on the Miscano Island up in Pembine, Wisconsin, great one-tank trip. You can still get in on tonight's dinner reservation should you choose to do so, but they've got a wine and cheese event all weekend. Get a hold of our girl Barb up there, Barb at the4seasonswi.com, the4seasonswi.com. Just call them 715-324-5800, 715-324-5800. And see if you still can't get in for tonight's dinner and wine and cheese event. Tomorrow, in case you want to go up and just stay tomorrow night, starting at 4 o'clock, the Wine and Cheese Fest is going to be taking place in the Lounge Bar. And if you purchase an app, you get complimentary wine and cheese and such pairing and all that kind of good stuff. That's tomorrow. But let's just say you want to hold off and you want to take the family for an Easter weekend. They have a huge indoor pool. If you've ever been watching on the local live stream, on the Bud Light live stream here, they've got a huge indoor pool. Kids would love it. Kids would absolutely love it. So huge indoor pool. And in addition to that, they have got the all-you-can-eat Easter buffet on Sunday. So if you want to call there and make your reservation, 715-324-5800. So if you want to get some inside time, hang by the pool, the weather's starting to change a little bit, feel good, kind of thing, you're good to go. However, let's just say you're a skier or an outdoor enthusiast. They're still making snow when the nights get cold up at Pine Mountain for Easter weekend. They still hope to have the snow going. So if you want to make a reservation, it's still a beautiful place. You can do hiking and all that kind of good stuff. But call them 906-774-2747, 906-774, and make your reservations there. So if you wanted a Four Seasons Island Resort in Pembine, 715-324-5800. Tell them we sent you. You get the Bill Michaels discount. 715-324-5800. If you want to go to Pine Mountain and do the Easter weekend, do some skiing and such, 906-774-2747, 906-774-2747. And stay tuned. There's more information coming. They're going to have guided waterfall tours. Never done that before up there. And we're going to talk about golf packages at both places. Pine Mountain Resort is the host of a terrific golf course up there. Timberstone Championship Golf Course. It is awesome if you've never been there. Timberstone's awesome. And then they've got the 9-hole executive over on the Four Seasons. And if you want to go there, play 9 or play 18, just enjoy yourself a little bit and then sit out on that veranda, smoke some cigars where Al Capone used to smoke cigars. It's just badass. It's such a cool, eclectic place. So head up to Four Seasons Island Resort. Either place, really good. So I've got a couple of things I want to clear up over here on the chat, okay? And I want to do this real quick because I've got a couple of people that were asking me about it. So Here's the question. It said, Bill, can you do us a favor? Can you clear something up regarding the salary cap and contracts in the NFL? Now, Rodgers has $37 million due this year. You are correct. $37 million due this year. Okay? If the Packers trade him to anybody, the Packers still need to pay him that money. They owe him, when they trade away a player, they owe you your signing bonus. Bemidji State hits the back of the net. Damn. 3-1. Bemidji State up on the Wisconsin Badgers right now. And they netted it relatively quick, coming off of a bump of the back wall. Slap shot right in front of the goalie. That was the end of it. So 3-1. Just over 5 minutes remaining in the second period. Samoza with his 14th goal of the season. So anyway, getting back to the Aaron Rodgers stuff, if they trade him, the team that's trading for him owes him his pay. Okay? Owes him his pay. But what the Packers owe him is the signing bonus. So any guaranteed money signing bonus-wise that they owe him, they owe him. They have to pay it. And it becomes a rather large cap, which would be, I think, the dead cap money with $39 million. I don't know specifically if they trade him what the total would be on that, but it'd be a bigger chunk. So there you go. Kinger says, this just in. Governor Tony Evers signed a bill that will allow Wisconsin residents be able to legally order cocktails to go. The business has a Class B liquor license. Cocktails to go. How about that? So for a lot of these businesses that couldn't kind of stay afloat or really struggled during COVID, if you're still down to low capacity throughout the state in some areas, this is kind of a Madison thing, because in Waukesha, they've just opened it up. You're back at max capacity. You still have to follow your guidelines and everything, but you're back at max capacity. Milwaukee continues to open up. They went from 25 to 50% capacity, and they're still doing curbside and all that kind of stuff. But now if you want to, say, get a fish fry on a Friday night, you can, and it's to go, or cocktails or Bloody Mary or whatever. So you can still do that. But I think Madison is probably one of the areas that's still a little bit more locked down than most. Just from seeing when I've been out there, and I've gone to a couple of different places. We went to Delaney Steakhouse a couple of weeks ago and had a terrific meal, but it's more locked down. I mean, it's very noticeable when you're in Madison when it comes to the restrictions of COVID. As opposed to some of the other areas. I mean, you go to some areas in the state, you never even know COVID exists. They're like, we don't have it here. We're good. So there you go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Glad to have you. Let's see here. What else do we have? Mark writes in the email inbox, he said, looking forward to Yelich having a big season. Do you think he hits over 300? I think if they get enough pitching, Yelich carries the team offensively. Hira gives you 20 to 25 home runs, and Jackie Bradley Jr. fills in admirably. This is going to be a tough team to beat. There's nothing there I would disagree with. I mean, we all know in Major League Baseball, 9 times out of 10, it comes down to pitching. I think the Brewers are going to be an underrated pitching staff. When it comes to, they're not going to be aces. They're not all aces. But what they've got is they've got good guys through and through. So as long as you're getting 5 innings, you know what pains me is to say, boy, if you just get 5 or 6 innings out of these guys, but how many times are they allowed to throw 6 innings? You know, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Brewers don't, Craig Counsell doesn't really manage that way. So, but I agree with what you say. Completely agree with what you're saying. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you would like to join the program in some way, shape, or form, do it. Do it. Got a lot of good stuff coming up today. Still, and we got the Chug Challenge coming down at the about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes away from that. So stay tuned for that as well, and get your beers ready. Get your beers ready. Hopefully we're talking about a Badger goal here relatively soon. So get your beers ready. Again, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, you can do so. I got a couple more emails I want to get to as well. If you got an email, if you got a question, you got something you want to throw out, a comment, whatever it may be, throw it out, and we'll try to get it on coming up here in just a few minutes. Stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, I'm going to take the break. I'm going to run downstairs. Going to grab my beverage for the Chug Challenge. Going to get back at it, and hopefully you're going to be ready to go as well. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I left for maybe a minute. Maybe a minute. And I come back, and the Badgers are down now 4-1. So as I sit here and I watch the replay, the Badger goalie came all the way out of goal and went over to the sideboards, tried to flip the puck behind the goal to kind of flip it to the other side of the arena, and just bounced it off the boards, basically. And a Bemidji State player intercepted it and just dropped it right in the net. No problem. No problem. Just an embarrassing move. Badgers now down at the end of the second period, 4-1. 4-1. Tough to watch. We are on the Bud Light live stream. For those paying attention, the glass of choice today is, if you notice, this is an old Curly's Pub glass. This was sent to me by Mark in Menominee. And I read his email when he sent this to me, or not his email, but his letter when he sent this to me. This is pretty cool. At the bottom of this glass, got a football actually etched in the bottom of it. Kind of neat. But when I used to do the postgame show on the Packers radio network, Brian Noble and I were up there when Curly's Pub first opened. And Mark had sent me a note saying, hey, do you remember a guy coming up to you? You had 4 glasses you were taking home. And he said, you were kind enough. My father was there. It was the first time he'd ever been to Lambeau Field. And you gave me one of the glasses to give to my dad. Well, my dad passed away, and I wanted to give the glass back to you. He enjoyed many beers in this. Enjoy. This was awesome. And you could have kept this, Mark. I so appreciate the gesture. I vaguely remember that. It's been so many years. It's been almost, got to be 15 years, 12, 15 years, something like that. But I vaguely remember that. Because, boy, I want to say specifically, but man, what a nice gesture. Thank you so much. I'm sorry to hear about the passing of your father. I really am. But I will do the Chug Challenge and drink out of this today with pride. So thank you for sending this to me. A Curly's Pub Lambeau Field glass. And we'll do that today, coming up here in about 10 minutes. But just really good stuff. I get such neat stuff. I got the bobblehead that's sitting here on the desk in front of me from a listener as well. That's sitting, right over here. So for those watching on the Bud Light live stream, so good stuff. Got a couple things. Well, Eric says, I can't believe they scored shorthanded on a monumental screw-up by the goalie. He said, this is embarrassing. I'm just glad that the Badgers are back in the postseason. So you kind of get the sense that this one's going by the wayside. It's going to be a disappointing day. Maybe a couple of goals you could overcome, but I don't think it's going to happen. They just don't look to be close enough. A couple of shots that they've had have been close, but so no cigar. But no, they haven't been able to get near the net enough to be able to do it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670 if you want to chime in. Mark says today's lineup for the Brewers looking a little bit like what they're going to be playing with opening day, doesn't it? Not really. Not really. Because you're not going to see Robertson or McKinney in there. McKinney's having a hell of a season, but spring training, I should say. But Taylor, who is having a tremendous camp, Robertson playing second, and McKinney and right. You're not going to see those guys with the big league club. Kane, Urias, Keston Hiura, Manny Pena, Orlando Arcia, yes. Freddie Peralta on the hill, yes. But those three guys, I guess a little bit against the White Sox, but the Taylor, Robertson, McKinney, as good as they're playing, don't get me wrong, they certainly have played their way into a discussion, but I just don't think it's gonna happen. Another side note to the Brewers opening things up is that the Brewers opening day at Miller Park is going to be more than just the return of fans to the ballpark. It also means that there's going to be a lot of ticket takers there, beer vendors, other part-time employees. Again, they're going to be making some money. The Brewers typically have 1,000 to 2,000, about 1,200 to 1,300 part-time employees during the Major League Baseball season. Those jobs gone last year, and with the ballpark opening up at only 25% capacity, that's going to be 800 to 900 part-time employees. So the Brewers are not only getting back to playing baseball at Miller Park, Interactive Family Field, and bringing some fans back, but there's at least some people that are going to be back working again as well as things continue to slowly open up. So more good news. More good news today. Good stuff. This one is from Jackson. Jackson says, hey, Bill, love the program. Can you talk a little more about basketball? What do you think it means to get Shaka Smart here? He's a guy that's from the area. He's a guy that should have at least some connections portal-wise for recruiting. He just never found his ground down in Texas. Never did. So you're hoping that just kind of getting out of Texas, having that fresh second start, that coming back, playing in a big, that this is the grip for him. This is it. This is where he's meant to be. And like I said, I think even though, like Wisconsin fan, they're like oil and water, man. It just doesn't mix right. And I understand that. Look, it's great to have your rivalry. It's great to be faithful to your school. It's great to, hate the other team and all that kind of stuff. It's great to be involved in that. But I think it all bodes well. It all bodes well when you have both teams going to the tournament, both teams having successful seasons, both teams giving you hope. And then, you throw into it, if you can get the Horizon League side of things to kind of effort back up between UWM and UW Green Bay, if both of those schools, UWM gave you a little bit of excitement down the stretch as they got into the finals of the Horizon League tournament, because there was that maybe that Cinderella flash. But I think it bodes well for the state of basketball. Bucks playing well, Marquette would be playing well, Wisconsin would be well. There's engagement. I think it's so good for everybody. That basketball would be back. So you hope for the best for Shaka Smart, who's now taking over as the head men's basketball coach at Marquette. I really wanted to see Porter Moser. I thought maybe they might be able to coax Porter Moser into the Big East out of Loyola Chicago. They had the money. They could have brought him here. But I thought that might not be a bad way to go. But you know what? Shaka Smart, there you go. Let's go to Tim listening to us in Sparta on our fine WKTY affiliate out there. Tim, how you doing today, buddy? What's going on?
I'm doing fine, Bill. I got a text from a friend saying that 49ers had done a bunch of, are willing to offer a bunch of draft picks and whatnot from a friend of mine for Rodgers. And I'm like, well, why would they do that? I think that's insanity. The cap hit would be unbelievable for Green Bay.
Right.
You'd be left with somebody who can't, by all intents and purposes, everything that I've heard, can't pick up the offense that now currently needs to get a run. And then my question to you is, why does the guy from Green Bay Why does he hate our quarterback so much? I mean, it just seems
I don't think he does.
He
I
wants
think he
to run the quarterback out of town something fierce.
No, I don't think he does. I think that he just kind of was very honest in laying blame in both areas. I mean, it takes two tango when it comes to getting a deal done. I don't think Rodgers escapes all criticism for some of the things that have gone on late in the season when you talk about NFC Championship games. But I mean, right now nobody knows what's going on, and Rodgers does, by many accounts, have quite a bit of power. And this might be Aaron Rodgers somewhat flexing his muscles, saying, hey, look, even if I give you guys the restructure and we do this, what's to say that you're even going to go spend the money in the right way? The last couple of times I wanted a particular player here, you didn't listen, you didn't care to hear my opinion. For years, he lived with drafting, square pegs to fit in round holes defensively or offensively. And now, not only do you want me to help you out, but in addition to that, you drafted my future. We came off of an NFC Championship game and you drafted my future. So I don't think he hates him. I just think there's a lot of reality there because I think it takes two to tango. And I'm sure Rodgers is a little bit pissed off that instead of getting him help, maybe an extra wide receiver or what have you, or an additional defender in last year's draft, they traded away 2 draft picks to jump up and get his successor when he's an MVP season. Why would you do that? So that's, I think, probably more just the reality of things than it is hating on Aaron Rodgers.
And I don't think that Rodgers is the greatest thing since sliced bread, except he is the best thrower of football I've ever seen. I mean, he's pretty close. Just is. Does he make mistakes? Yes. Has he? Yes. But the only reason they got to the championship games that they have is because he put the freaking team on his back and drug him there.
Yep.
But I guess my whole thing is, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm not restructuring my contract until you tell me that my restructured contract is going to go for this type of a player.
Right.
Because if you're not, then once again, I'm going to have to drag this team kicking and screaming into the playoffs. Minnesota's gotten better. They have a great head coach who's a defensive-minded guy. They got, their defense is going to be so much better than last year. They've got a great wide receiver now, a great running back. Their offensive line has improved. The Lions are the Lions, and the Bears look like they're still going to be the Bears. But Minnesota is going to challenge, I think, for the division. And here we are, still needing somebody for Kenny Clark to play alongside so he doesn't get double and triple teamed all the time. And we re-signed Kevin King, who, if he's not hurt,
he's a solid player. But the problem is he has been hurt. But I agree with you. Look, this was one of the better secondaries in football last year. And then when Kevin King went down, it clearly had a misstep. And when he came back and he wasn't healthy, he clearly had a misstep. And that's one of the most egregious things Packers fans can remember is him getting burned just before half, and then obviously the holding call, which gave the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the first down and thus the championship. So I appreciate the phone call. I got to run here because we got to get to a break. I understand where you're coming from, but the 49ers traded with the Dolphins to get the number 3 overall pick. The 49ers are moving to the draft to get themselves a quarterback, and then they're probably going to trade away Jimmy Garoppolo. They're not going to trade with Green Bay. And that was a rumor that was floating around out there fast and furious real quick, and it got quashed very quickly. If anything, there's been some talk about Jimmy Garoppolo maybe rejoining Bill Belichick all over again if they can work out a trade with the New England Patriots. But clearly the 49ers want to move in a different direction. They want to grab themselves one of the top 3 quarterbacks coming out of this year's NFL draft. We're going to drink some beer when we come back. And we'll also give you an update as to what's going on in the Badger game as the Badgers taking on Bemidji State right now in the regional semis in hockey. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Vehicles will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Bill Michaels Show continuing on, final segment of the week, and we're going to recap next week. We're going to talk some more Packers, talk some NFL, what happens to happen. We'll recap the Bucs weekend and talk about the Brewers as they get ready to take off for Texas for a couple of exhibition games and then come back home on Wednesday where they're going to have an off day and a workout at American Family Field, get a look at the new digs, the way they look now, and then get you ready for Thursday, which is going to be opening day. So all of that coming up on the next Bill Michaels Show. Going to get into the Chug Challenge coming up here in a minute as we kick off our weekend like adults in a bar talking sports. And that's what we're going to be doing, is doing a little beverage coming up here shortly. This is from Nathan, says, hey, Bill, filtering out the Packers playoff games since 2008. The Packers D giving up 30-plus points. The Packers are 1-6. Well, that's with the offense scoring on average in those losses, 28.14 points per game. The Packers D giving up 29 or less. The Packers are 10-3, scoring 28.15 points per game in those games. The Packers offense, when it scores 30-plus points, the Packers are 6-2, and they average 36.75 points per game. The defense giving up an average of 27.75 points per game. The Packers offense, 29 points or less. The Packers are 5-7, scoring an average of 22.42 points per game. So in other words, if you look at it, the Packers are points. What is the nemesis, more often than not, in the postseason, has been the defense's inability to come up with big stops at big moments. There you go. And you are correct. So for those of you watching on the Bud Light live stream, got my Bud Light in hand. It is time. Kinger, I did not forget. I'm going to take the glass that was sent to me. Our buddy Mike Menominee, sending it over. Filling it up. Ebo, you got one going back there, even though it's going to be more of a drowning of your sorrows for what the Badgers men's hockey program doing right now? Maybe.
Yeah, Bill, after watching those first two periods, I do have a nice beer in front of me.
I was going to say, maybe you started drinking a little bit earlier after watching those first two periods. All right, for those that are out there, for those that are paying attention on the Bud Light live stream, for those of you that are getting ready to go into the weekend, my girlfriend, Kristen, it's her birthday today. Happy birthday to her. I'll be doing a dinner later on tonight. Cheers to all of you. Bam. Good. Done. Nice. That's the way to start off the weekend. Always love that. Brady says, hopefully the Chug Challenge will bring some luck to the Badgers in the third period. Badgers right now just dropping the puck. Just got underway in the third period, trailing Bemidji State 4-1. Bemidji, 28 shots on goal. The Badgers, 20. And the Badgers, less quality shots on goal as well. So hopefully they can come back and get a win in this one. If they do, it'll be spectacular. I'll be chugging another one coming up tonight. Matt Daddy says, limo over the weekend. Are you doing the video? I had mentioned that yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Yesterday, the day before. So, and I know she's not listening because she's actually in the office today. So, Kristen, it's her birthday today. And we are just kind of a take it easy kind of dinner thing coming up tonight. And then tomorrow, it is a couple of friends. We're all getting together. We're saying, hey, we're going to take you to dinner. But they're gathering here at the house. So while we're downstairs in the wagon wheel having one drink before we, quote, leave, the limo is going to arrive because her friends live a little bit further from me and nobody really wants to drink and drive. So I just went ahead and I said, I'm just going to rent a limo. So the limo is going to arrive tomorrow and take everybody. We've got, I think, 12 or 15 people or something like that going. And everybody has picked a location. And we got it down to the I think to 5 locations, 5 or 6. And once everybody's picked up, we are off on a pub crawl. And the rule is you go in, you do 1 drink per place. It goes when you plan it that way. It never works out that way. So 1 drink per place. And then once we finish our pub crawl, we've got, I think, 4 hours. 5 hours. 5 hours to kind of keep the mission, so to speak. So we've got like 4 backup bars if we need to. But that's what tomorrow night is going to be. So we're going to do that tomorrow night. So looking forward to that. And yeah, I'll do some video. For those that wanted to see some video and see some different things, I'll do some video tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. I'll make sure I take some of that as well, whether it's in the limo or drunken messes or whatever. So I'll definitely be doing that. What's on the docket this weekend for you there, Mr. Evo?
Bill, I'm doing a little karaoke tonight down in my hometown. And other than that, I'm going to be watching some March Madness tomorrow.
Are you a singer?
I am a songbird, the voice of my generation, Bill, yes.
Okay. Or are you one of those crooners that once you have 3 or 4 too many, then you're really singing? Then that's when you
Bill,
got
I'll give you I'll give a little taste. It'll be Neil Diamond, Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon.
Oh, my goodness. At least it's not Shania Twain. Man, I feel like a woman.
In 2021, anything's possible.
Right? There you go. So I talked about the tournament coming up tomorrow, starting yet again. Gonzaga and Creighton, USC and Oregon, Michigan and Florida State, UCLA and Alabama. That's the left side of your bracket. Then you got Baylor and Villanova, Arkansas and Oral Roberts. The Cinderella continues to dance along with Loyola Chicago and Oregon State. Syracuse and Houston, all for the right to go to the Elite 8. And then from there on down to the Final 4 and the finals. So it should be a good weekend. I've got the Zags winning. I've got Oregon winning. I've got Michigan winning. I've got Alabama winning. I've got Baylor winning. I've got Arkansas winning and finally bringing Oral Roberts to an end. Even though I want to see Oral Roberts keep going because my bracket's busted now, so I don't really care. Loyola Chicago continues to win, and they go to the Sweet 16. And then I've got Houston knocking off Syracuse. And then after that, it's going to be Baylor and Arkansas. I'm going to have Baylor going to the Final 4. Got Loyola Chicago and Houston. Loyola Chicago still winning and going again to the Final 4. Gonzaga winning over Oregon. And I've got Michigan over Alabama. It'll be Gonzaga and Michigan and Baylor and Loyola Chicago in the Final 4, and then we'll go from there. So that's the way we're going to end things today. Brett says you're going to be rocking Tina Turner doing some karaoke. I can see that.
Or that.
I can see you kicking a little Tina. There you go. That's it. Another week in the books. Tremendous stuff. Thanks to everybody for chiming in and showing up and hanging out with us. And please, did we get over 1,500 today, by the way, over on the YouTube channel? We were real close. real close in the YouTube channel. I wonder if we got over the 1,500. Let me check real quick before we get out of here today. See if you guys put us over. Come on, real quick. There it is. Our channel, and yes, over 1,500. Thank you. Time for us to go. Have a good one.